Hey everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse, the DC Comics podcast from Mail Fuzz TV. I am Peter, and joining me, I've got a full house this week. It's been like 4 weeks since we had all three of us together, but Matt's here.
Hey, what's up?
Connor's here too, I guess.
Yeah, I'm back.
He's back, yes, after your 2-week vacation.
Hiatus.
Yes. Hiatus, yes. Notably missing Nightwing 51, which... Did you read it?
Not yet. I only just read all the books for this week. I was catching up. I'll get there.
It's not happening.
Oh,
It's
maybe read it.
You seem busy, so I'll just save you some time and go. It's not as bad as 50, but it's still pretty bad.
He's not doing it. This is him weaseling out of it now after making us both read it.
It's not. I didn't make Matt read it.
No, I volunteered for that. That was like, the albino and the Da Vinci Code. That's what that was like.
I have literally no idea about the albino and the Da Vinci Code.
He whips himself. Self-flagellation there. That's what Nightwing 50 and 51 was.
Okay. We're talking about DC Comics on this show. Coming up on this week's episode, on episode 127, I believe, we're going to be talking about Wonder Woman 57, which is the next part of the Witching Hour. We have Detective Comics 991, Action Comics 1004, The Flash 57, Batgirl 28, Justice League Odyssey number 2, The Terrifics number 9, Titans 28, and The Silencer number 10. And Connor has one of his punishment issues from Patreon. He has The Curse of Brimstone number... Well, I actually don't know what issue it is.
I want to say 6.
We noted down the creators,
6,
but I forgot the number.
Feels like 60 to Connor.
Yeah, it was 6.
Alright, well, that's what's coming up. Surprising lack of news this week, actually. It's been kind of quiet since New York Comic Con. Outside of the solicits, of course, but it's been kind of quiet. Although someone did point out from the solicits last week, something that we didn't talk about was the Bensons being booted off of Green Arrow after only a few issues.
Great.
And they basically... They said on Twitter they had more stories planned. It wasn't that they're leaving. They were booted from the book. And the scuttlebutt seems to be that it just wasn't... They weren't happy with the sales. And that's why they're changing.
Apparently, especially the Heroes in Crisis tie-in didn't boost like it should have done.
Yeah, that's because nobody cares about Roy. That ain't on the Bensons, guys.
That was a harsh way to put it, but I feel like the Bensons aren't yet names that will draw people to comics on their own, right?
No.
So it feels weird to me to pull them off a book when you're not even giving them a chance to do a few arcs to actually, build an audience, build people,
It's been like 3 issues in an annual, right? Like.
Yeah, and 2 of them have been tie-ins to things, I think.
Yeah.
2 of them?
Yeah, because the first one was wasn't the annual a tie-in to something? The annual was a tie-in to
No Justice.
No Justice.
That's the only thing that it could have.
You could be right.
It was him in the snow with Waller. Yeah.
No, that's I was really enjoying their first couple. I mean, hard to enjoy that funeral issue, just because it kind of interrupted the story that was being told. For no reason, and there he goes.
It felt like they had potential. It felt like, only a few issues, and it felt like it was a bit stronger than the Birds of Prey, so it felt like they'd grown a little bit as comic writers.
Even as Birds of Prey, I dropped that book just to, I couldn't keep up with as many books. It wasn't because of quality that I dropped that one, but I was stoked for them on Green Arrow. It was fun while it lasted.
Yeah, because the issue was solicited for January is the same pair who did that 2-issue fill-in. So I'm assuming they're fill-in again rather than the new team.
Well, that was the fill-in. He was hunting Parasite through Belle Reeve.
No, that was Scott, who's on Batgirl just now.
It was the fill-in the kids in the other country.
Yeah, 2-parter.
Oh yeah, I didn't read that.
Yeah. What the funny thing is though is that was pretty poor, but almost the exact same week their Nightwing fill-in was fantastic. So, I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
2 of my favorite street level heroes. DC is slowly destroying. This is great.
Nightwing wasn't slow. that was a sudden jab to the heart.
Yeah, I know.
Through the head.
Yeah. But still stands.
Yeah. Yeah, so it sucks. There's not really much way around it. I mean, unless they're going to put some superstar name on the book after a couple of fill-ins that makes more sense. That it's like, okay, that'll pull in the numbers, that'll pull in people. But it's like, if you want talent to grow and actually build an audience, you kind of have to let them grow a little bit and actually have time in a book. But
Yeah, I wonder if they didn't pull enough of their audience across from Birds of Prey, maybe, because they were obviously okay on that in terms of numbers for that book. I wonder if they were expecting almost a boost from some of their fans that they'd cultivated from that book to follow over, and it didn't materialize.
I mean, it did get cancelled, so it wasn't exactly
the biggest
selling
but
book.
It got cancelled after a considerable amount of issues. It wasn't like 10, was it?
It was, let's say, 18.
Yeah, it was maybe close to 20, I think.
Something in that range, yeah.
Yeah.
There was 3 trades, regardless of what the number was, but so it kind of sucks. But it's like, it doesn't sound like they're necessarily mad at DC. I mean, they probably are. Like I'd be mad at them, but
I mean, you've been let go of your job. Like it's not. That's not happy, but it's not as bad as Chelsea Kane. No. Like where they just canceled it right after solicitation. So yeah. So this is you lose perspective after DC over the last couple of years having these long runs out of writers. So when something like this happens, it feels shocking, but this used to be like par for the course at DC.
No, there was about a year into New 52. This was the story every 3 months.
Yep.
Yeah, another book.
Except for Lobdell on Teen Titans.
Yeah, I'm thinking like Andy Diggle on Superman, or was it Action? Might have been Action, where he got one issue out before he was off it, and the rest of that arc was it was co-written by someone else.
Yeah, it was that, and then they brought in Cooter and Pack, and that was pretty good. Not that I would sacrifice Diggle though, because I really like Diggle.
It was pretty good, but Diggle's better.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, we'll see who the full-time replacement on Green Arrow is, which is really weird. See, you have to string us along with like 3 or 4 months of fill-ins. It's like, well, why not just let the Bensons do another arc, then have
just let's let them finish what they were doing.
A string of fill-ins, it's weird. I mean, even if you tell them, you're not going to get the long run you thought you were going to get, but you're going to get one more arc of say 4 or 5 issues. Do whatever you want with that. Like let them do something there.
Whereas now we've got another 3.
Yeah.
We'll have December, November. There's 2.
It's 2.
There's 2.
Right. Okay.
So we'll see.
It's a bit shit, isn't it?
I guess they'll wrap up their plot with the social media guy who's.
That'll be about it then.
And that'll be about it. Yeah. It's a shame, but hey. And whether or not it's worth keeping after we get a new writer, we'll see. We'll see who's on it. But and it's not the new writer's fault. I mean, I won't hold it against them, but
it could be someone amazing.
It could be someone amazing, but hey, but yeah. So that's all. So Matt, are you going to check out Sabrina at any point since the new show started on Netflix?
Yeah. I'm gonna get to it, but like right now, it's the crux of being busy from moving, and then like all the sports are being played right now.
I think I have a more important question, because maybe Pete already knows this. Have you already checked out Titans?
No.
Well, do that first, obviously.
Well, I'll say this, Matt. I'll say this. Titans redeemed itself in its 2nd episode because
I'm waiting for Pete to get through 3 before I pull that trigger.
They took a political stance that needed to be taken in a TV show. It really did. Dick Grayson made it clear in that show that pineapple does not belong on pizza, and therefore the show is redeemed.
All right, well, F Batman and all this, but that's the most important statement he can make.
Absolutely.
I saw an interview this week, and it was the headline was Titans cast confirm that the heroes kill, brackets including Robin, and I kind of went, well, no shit. I can see that for myself.
Yeah, it's violent as shit.
No. So, yeah. Every time I go to start something else comes up. Like, I haven't watched hardly any movies this month because of the trip and then the move and then just everything else.
You've probably watched more than me.
Yeah, so, but that's because baseball's been on and my wife's a massive Dodgers fan. So we watched all those. The Knights are back playing because it's hockey season. So yeah, it's been a balancing act.
How
But
inconsiderate of one sport to start the season when the other sport's not quite finished with
well,
that season
that's
yet.
yeah. Well, that's just how it goes. But what sucks is I'll watch baseball one night and I'll watch hockey the next. But they've been putting the Knights games the same night as the World Series games, which makes it very difficult when one half wants to watch the Dodger game, the other half wants to watch the Knights game.
This is why you just get 2 TVs.
Well, I don't know. My TV downstairs is better. I'm not going upstairs to watch hockey.
Send her
Damn it.
upstairs.
So, but she doesn't want to go upstairs to watch the World Series. So it's a battle of. So we've been flipping back and forth. The good thing about baseball is there's a lot of downtime.
Good TV and put it next to the good one
It
downstairs.
has to be equal. You have to get a complete equal setup in a different room that is equal in size and impressiveness.
So, but that's, baseball is a slow sport, so there's a lot of downtime. So in between, with hockey at least, it's constantly moving.
Yeah, hockey is non-stop.
Yeah, so I haven't missed too many big moments. I did miss my new favorite player score his goal the other night, but whatever. I'll get over it. There's another 81 games in hockey. So
Hello,
it'll be
darkness, my old friend.
But no, I plan on checking out Sabrina. We were gonna start it yesterday, but with all the stuff we had going on, I don't want to jump in that hole.
Yeah.
And not be like, oh well, I want to watch another one, but I don't have time. That's the same with I've heard about Haunting of Hill House. Is the same way that you're like, oh, I'll just watch one.
Because we reviewed them individually, though, I think me and Connor are just used to we're just used to spreading them out now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird at first because we used to just binge the whole thing over the weekend and then try and get to it, and that became unfeasible. So it was weird at first doing we'll do one today, one in a couple of days.
Yeah.
But now it's just normal.
Well,
so it's
when me and Pete did Glow, there were some episodes where I was like, okay, well that was enough. And then there was ones when it ended, you're like, well, I just want to watch that one now, but I can't.
Yeah.
Because we're doing the review, and you don't want to get behind or forward.
It helps you savor it a bit more, though. I do like that.
Well, yeah, and that was my biggest problem with binge watching. It's like Stranger Things. Like, I have friends that watch all of Stranger Things in one sitting, and they can't remember because everything blends together.
Yeah, it's something that we learned from doing the already cancelled, where we take an old show that's already finished. We did Twin Peaks last year before the new one came, and we did it one a week for the first bit, and we kind of sped up to 2 a week by the end. But I remember that so much better than shows that I watched of a similar length over maybe 2 or 3 weeks.
Speaking of David Lynch, I went to a wrestling show last night, and then I
Where's
found out
this
some friends.
going?
I know.
So this is where my night went. I went and watched Halloween-style wrestling, so it was all completely crazy. To which I ended up with friends
Aren't
doing...
they all in costumes anyway?
Yeah, but let me get there. To karaoke in an Irish pub where everybody was in costume, and my friend was dressed as the Babadook singing a Mars Volta song. I felt like I was in a David Lynch movie.
I was waiting for why this is speaking of David Lynch. I was like, where's the David Lynch element coming into this?
Yeah.
Like,
I was waiting, and David Lynch just walked in and started singing.
He might as well. I couldn't believe it. So, yeah, the Babadook singing the Mars Volta, just bumming everybody out. I looked around, Kyle MacLachlan wasn't there. Like, I didn't know what to do.
All right, well, that was your small talk for the week. Matt always takes us to weird places.
I tried to keep it on topic when I mentioned Titans, and then
no, you did.
And it devolved into that.
What happens when there's no news?
Well, this is the weird thing actually with the DC shows right now is that because Titans is on and because DC or CW have put on 5 shows at once, there's 6 DC shows, not even including Gotham. I don't even know if Gotham's on yet. That may not be back until January, but there's like 6 DC shows on right now. So if you go and listen to television from the Multiverse or TV version of this podcast that me and Connor do, talking about all the shows, it is a gauntlet right now.
You get a jam-packed episode every week.
Yeah. So, because at the end of the episode, we always pick our favourite episode of the week, right? But now it's actually like an interesting fight because there's so many shows. It's like, okay, well,
I mean, it would be if Legends wasn't a glorious, beautiful show.
Yes, I mean, yeah, that was the obvious winner this week, admittedly, but you know, it did have a magical unicorn that stabbed people with its horn and sprayed magical pixel gel dust that made people high,
and then ate their hearts.
Was that the unicorn that was in Cabin in the Woods?
I referenced that on the show, though.
There you go.
Yeah, but no, they got to Woodstock this last episode, Matt. It was a thing.
Wow.
It's so good.
I'll get there eventually. I need to catch up on Flash and
Screw Flash. Legends is better.
Well, no. What I mean is this. Let me get through this season while they're still on the app, before I have to wait. And then, so I didn't even realize it started because I've been so out of the loop. Like October's been rough.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, we've been all over the place this month, haven't we?
Yeah, it's been a weird month. Evident by the fact that there was one just me Connor episode followed by two just me Matt episodes, and then finally back to normal. And there's a risk that next week will be a Connorless episode again.
Yeah, it's 50-50.
Depending on his work.
I don't know which way my work schedule's falling right
now. But that's an isolated thing. That has nothing to do with why he was off the last couple of weeks. This is just a separate.
So are we
thing.
in a surprise Doomsday Clock issue? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, I think that's what's happening.
Don't you dare.
He will miss a Heroes in Crisis though if he's gone.
No, it's not on previews. It's not there. It's not next.
It's there. Yeah, it is.
It wasn't earlier.
It's on Diamond. So it's
Has it come up now?
Yeah,
it
suck it, Connor.
It was meant to be this week, because in the back of all the books they had that article, and it said check out Heroes in Crisis 2 this week, and I was like, no, that got bumped, guys.
Yeah, I'm looking at Diamond now. I'm gonna see it because it wasn't there when I looked earlier.
I promise you it's there.
Okay, it's better now. It wasn't there like 5 hours ago.
I love this because this was Connor like yesterday arguing with me endlessly, convinced it wasn't coming out next week.
No.
Even though I told him like 4 other sources that said it was.
No. I said that it wasn't in the finalized form yet. You know, it's Diamond they do the list before they do the thumbnails, and so I said it's possible it'll come in when they do that, and clearly that's happened today because when I checked earlier, it was in the list and it wasn't there still.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you for proving him wrong.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Well, I'm very excited. Next week seems to be a big week, and it's a shame that Connor's going to be missing.
It's a weirdly big week 5. It is. So we get the end of Witch Hour and the start of Drowned Earth proper next week.
Also, I noticed, was that Batman Haunted Night is out, the trade. Have you read that, Pete?
Yeah, the Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. That was the 3 stories they did, the 3 Halloween specials they did before they did Long Halloween and Dark Victory.
Well, I might have to pick this up to go with my other ones.
It's not as good as those 2, but it's
no,
solid.
But I like to have Loeb and Sale stuff.
Yeah.
I have most of the Marvel color books. I have For All Seasons, I have Dark Victory, I have Long Halloween.
It was essentially like 3 annual sized issues. They did like one year after the other, and then it was the 4th year they started Long Halloween. It was almost like the testers before they were
Halloween Special 1, then Batman Madness 1, and Batman Ghosts 1.
Yeah, so they're all like double sized or whatever.
I might have to pick that up on week 2. Well, that's what drew me to it was the cover and the title. And I figured, well, it's Halloween stuff, Halloween themed, and Batman, so Pete's had to have read it.
Yeah, it's been a long time, admittedly, but yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a Barbara Gordon Mad Hatter story in there.
I'll have to.
Interestingly, the complete Dark Prince Charming hardcover is out next week. Obviously, me and Pete did our monthly episode on that not so long ago.
Yeah, a few months ago when the second half came out, when it was individual halves.
It's worth checking out.
Yeah. No, that's good. Very good art actually in that one. So, all right, well, done with books. Let's get on to the books then. That's enough of your chit chat for the week, and we'll get on to Wonder Woman 57, James Tynion the Fourth. I've covered my list here, but it's Emanuela Lupacchino. Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
From memory. So. Yeah, so this is part 4 of the Witching Hour. This is me and Matt were like we enjoyed the last couple issues, but we were kind of like they're just middle chapters of a crossover. They weren't exactly standout.
I felt pretty similar when I caught up. I've read all 3 over the last like two days,
and I'm sure it read better. Boom, boom, boom.
Even though it's weekly, did. Yeah.
But back to back probably helped out a little bit.
I did intentionally not read them all together. I kind of put other books in between them, so to at least get a sense of a break. But I agree, they were they were all right. They were still pretty good. They were well written. Some good art. Probably my least favorite part of the Justice League Dark book, though, as a whole.
Yeah, we said that last week. Because last week's was actually Justice League Dark issue 4.
Yeah.
That was my least favorite Dark issue out of the 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, they were all right. I'm enjoying the story overall.
I like where this one went because it finally felt like we're moving again.
Yeah.
With the struggle between Zatanna and Diana.
Yeah, it was. Well, it's kind of what we said last week, that it felt like there was at least one issue too many, and it felt like the last couple were kind of spinning wheels a little bit, drawing things out. So we see that Diana's in the wherever the people who are taken over by Hecate go, the realm, this fake moon,
the moon world.
And so we see that she's in there, and she wants to try and get out, and she thinks she gets out for a second at one point because Zatanna's going for it out in the real world and try to reverse it. But then the twist at the end, or the reveal at the end, is that she's still in the moon world, and she's like, and Witchfire's like, "Hey, I think you died."
It's a good ending.
Yeah, because Diana's fully colored, like she looks normal. And by the end, she's all like shadowy. Yeah. Like she's lost that color. So I like that visual representation of it.
Yeah.
So
the other main parts of the book was Zatanna and Constantine kind of debating how to handle the situation. Constantine's been a miserable sod, as per usual. I mean, he does have cancer, but I mean,
but see, I like that they reminded us that he is an exorcist. I thought that was not a fun, but like that's his primary job. Yeah, and so he should be able to do that.
I feel the same with the cancer thing. Obviously, that was a huge part of Hellblazer for a long time, and it feels like, okay, let's kind of bring that back. And
how long has it been since that's been a part of the character? Because I
feel like that's Vertigo.
Yeah, I don't feel like I've heard about this in a while.
It was for a lot of the Hellblazer, the Vertigo Hellblazer book.
Yeah, well, because he aged in real time in that book, right? Yeah.
But the cancer, it went on for quite a while, if I recall, and then it was never in the DCU version when we got him over here in the New 52 or anything we've had in Rebirth. So this is the reintroduction of that.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the rest of the team got all the monks that what's her face is hiding in, Ramakrishna.
Yeah, Ramakrishna.
And unfortunately, Minuto Dawn comes through, but Tracy 13 and some of the surviving members of the Midnight Society are waiting for her to fight back. So
yeah. Well, the Society of the Sleight of Hand, they were the ones that were in the Oblivion Bar.
My favorite stuff though was outside of the stuff on the Moon World, which I quite enjoyed. Was probably the Swamp Thing and Black Orchid.
Yeah,
that was cool. Yeah.
I'm kind of worried about Swamp Thing, about Alec having to take over as the Parliament now, like because we kept getting those rumblings.
Yeah.
Which I like the heavy metal version of him. It
almost feels like they're setting us up to get a new Avatar of the Green.
Almost. Well, and I also like how Hecate, or I forget who it was, but someone was describing why Hecate's attacking the red and the green, because she wants to replace them, like their mystic elements, with like this more primal magic.
It would kind of she'll have like a control over the three elements.
Yeah, over everything basically.
Yeah,
which goes into her whole triplet kind of identity, which I like too.
Yeah,
which was another thing. Yeah, as a lot of podcasts I've been listening to have been doing like Halloween themed, kind of pagan ritual kind of stories, and I found out that the whole concept of Hecate and magic came from Egypt, because they called their magic Heka, Heka, and when Alexander the Great had went over there, it kind of spread back over to Greece, and that's where we get the name Hecate. So I thought that was pretty interesting. How weird that's fitting in with what's going on in the comics.
I do like that. That Greek link is such an important part for those mythologies. It's obviously now we say, Greek is the bedrock of Western stories, but obviously you had that huge Egyptian influence on there, which then they spread to the Romans, and it kind of spiraled from that point. But
and just how it fits in with Diana.
Yeah,
and she's Greek and the pantheon and whatnot. So I thought that was pretty interesting. That just popped up this week. right after I had read this issue.
Yeah.
Can't remember what podcast it was though. I'm sure it was Some Bizarre States or something. I can't remember. But yeah.
I'm sure you gushed over Lupacchino a couple of issues ago when I wasn't here, but she draws the best Zatanna.
Yeah,
we most probably did. I think that
she draws the best. Everybody.
The Moon World stuff, I think, is her best work in this issue specifically, though.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Big shout out to the colours though, for really setting that tone. Not sure who that is. See if I can find it. I can't find the credits page.
Killing dead air whilst Connor looks for information.
You could have jumped in, but no.
Killing dead air whilst Connor looks for information.
Fajero Jr.
There you go.
Was that English, or did you just cast a spell?
I don't know. Yeah, that sounded like a Harry Potter spell to me. I don't know.
It did.
One of your weird namby-pamby Expelliarmus bollocks.
Speaking of Harry Potter, I've not gotten around to Books of Magic yet. I'm a little...
Me neither. I had it fully planned, but just I ran out of time.
Yeah, same. I've heard a lot of people say its best and worst elements is it feels like a Harry Potter book.
Well,
but
it's kind of unfair to Books of Magic, though.
Yeah, it is.
But knowing what we know now, so...
Life goes on, I guess.
Yeah.
Life goes on. Yeah. As far as this issue as a whole, it's probably the best chapter since the first one, I think, because it feels like things are sort of moving ahead again. But I mean, I think what I said last week about how a lot of these crossovers that take place in a month where it's just spread across the books, they always feel a lot smaller in scope than I usually think they are going in. And this is kind of no exception to that, where it feels a bit...
Yeah, it's kind of just an arc of the story, just
kind of.
We kind of thought that, though, when we heard Tynion was going to be writing issues on Wonder Woman.
Yeah. What I wasn't expecting, though, because I assumed because it was just essentially the next arc of Justice League Dark, I assumed it wouldn't feel as spread out as a lot of these crossovers do, in terms of the plot being stretched over X number of issues. So I'm surprised by that a little bit.
Do you know what I think it is? And this is going to sound weird. I think it's a weird, unfortunate coincidence of October having 5 Wednesdays.
Yeah?
Because they went, we wanted to hit all of October. Whereas if this had just been 4 weeks, this would have been condensed down.
Yeah, I suppose what you do there is you take away one of the specials, because you can't really take away one Wonder Woman issue, because it'd be in the middle. Like, this Wonder Woman is not part of the crossover, even though the next chapter's not to come.
You take away one of the specials, the first or the last one.
Yeah.
But the problem is they were like, no, let's make it it's probably an editorial thing.
Yeah.
Let's get 2 one-shots, double the sales on those, and we can have the whole month of October is the thing.
And then debatably as well, those 2 specials are longer, so arguably they'd have more of an impact taking one of those away, which might be for the better, maybe for the worse, but...
Yeah, you don't have to fill it.
It's a factor.
You can just, Sometimes restrictions make things easier, It seems counterintuitive, but you're like, well, I have to do more with less.
Yeah, sometimes making things tighter makes sense.
Yeah, and I wouldn't necessarily easier, but better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's arguably actually more difficult and challenging, but that challenge is what leads to a better product at the end, sometimes. So, but I don't want to sound down on it, because I'm enjoying it. It's just, instead of like being like the thing I'm most excited about every week, I didn't read this first. Normally the crossovers and the events, I'm like, first, because I want to know what's happening in the world. This just feels like an arc where it's like, it's like the 4th or 5th thing I read. It's fine. It's good, it's enjoyable, but not setting my world on fire.
I'm looking forward to getting back to regular Justice League Dark next month.
Yes. It's also worth mentioning the next issue of Wonder Woman, which we will be reading, is the start of Wilson's run, G. Willow Wilson.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So looking forward to that and seeing what she's going to do with the character. Looking forward to a different take and a different tone. But we'll rate this issue then. This is Wonder Woman 57. I forgot which book this actually was there for a second, because it could have been
another one.
It could have been one of 3 books, right?
Yeah.
So Wonder Woman 57. What are you giving it that?
It's a 7.5. The art's carrying most of that. I enjoyed it, but I want to. Not that it's still in a holding pattern, but the way it ended, I'm really waiting for that next issue. So.
Yeah, Connor.
Yeah, I agree with the 7.5. Probably would have been closer to 6.5 or 7, but art lifts it up.
You know what? I'll be the negative one. I'll say 7.
No,
Screw you.
We give it a 7.
Yeah, but I really like Lupacchino.
I like Lupacchino as well. No, it's good.
So,
So all right, that's Wonder Woman. All right, that'll take us out to Detective Comics 991. James Robinson writing, Carmine D. Giandomenico on the art. I haven't seen him in a little while.
Hell yeah.
He's he's a Flash man, but now he's on Batman.
This is kind of a stacked week for artists.
It is.
It's interesting, and Joe, what's really baffling about this issue is that, I mean, obviously Connor wasn't here for the last one, but we've had a very similar kind of opinion of this throughout the arc, where it's generally pretty enjoyable. The art's typically been quite good. The dialogue's kind of weird in a lot of places. I think the last issue was the worst for it, actually, in terms of the weird dialogue.
Yeah, there was one Batman called someone like mate or something like that. It was weird. It
wasn't mate, because that's very English, but yeah, it was.
No, it was, but it was something that was very like it sounded English.
It was man.
When I read it.
I mentioned it when I read it last episode. I mentioned it at one point. It says "Come on, man" or something like that, or whatever.
Yeah.
So here's the interesting thing: is that it's kind of spurred into this weird throwback to the Long Halloween, where this issue kind of builds up to having Batman, Gordon, and Dent standing on a rooftop. Or it's more of a balcony, but whatever. Point being the same. And it feels like it's kind of harking back to that. It almost feels like Robinson wanted to do a love letter to the origin story of these three guys teaming up for justice and truth and yada yada. And some of the dialogue's still a bit weird, although there was nothing stuck out to me quite as bad as a couple of those big examples from last issue.
No, it wasn't quite as jarring.
No. I couldn't help but think of Split, the Shyamalan movie, with Harvey and Two-Face fighting over the light. Like, I like Two-Face going, well, I couldn't stop Harvey. Usually I can put Harvey deep down and he just does what I say, but with what was going on, Harvey's been able to grab that and take control, which I like that. I like the fact that now, instead of it's just Harvey Two-Face, you never know which one you're going to be dealing with.
Yeah,
so I like that sense of duality.
He makes it sound like it's mostly always going to be Two-Face, but every so often you'll get Harvey Dent kind of sneaking out for a little bit.
This issue definitely had my favorite stuff of the arc. It was Two-Face being kind of scared that he was irrelevant if Harvey's doing the evil shit. What's my purpose?
And it was the one key thing though, right? It was the guy who was setting up who had made all the plans, right?
Yeah.
Harvey Dent, that was his last case before he became Two-Face, he was trying to put this guy away and he got off on a technicality. So it was Harvey Dent who chose to kill him. The second bullet was Two-Face, because Two-Face wanted to make it look like Two-Face did it, because again, it's that fear of irrelevance. If Harvey Dent's becoming evil, then what's the point of me?
Just the idea of Two-Face having an existential crisis is a great story.
Good.
Yeah, but to that I say, is Dent really that evil for taking out a guy that was planning a terrorist act?
I mean, swings and roundabouts.
Yeah,
he probably didn't see himself as evil.
It's not like he was innocent and he's like, oh, he ruined my record and I need to go and take him out. And no, he's like, no, this guy's a bad guy and deserves to be punished.
Well, I mean, it's further than he should go, because that was kind of the point of his.
Yeah,
but
I wouldn't.
His turn to Two-Face was very much the point of him, blurring that line and going over the line to where he's willing to take justice into his own hands, right?
No, if that was Harvey just shooting his own goons in the face, then I would say, that's evil.
Yeah, no, I don't think this is saying that Harvey's evil, but it's that he's willing to do things that he wouldn't before. And
he's willing to get his hands dirty now. It's almost like the yin and the yang, where you have a little bit of darkness in the light and a little bit of light in the darkness.
Yeah, I mean,
that's kind of where.
I think you use evil as a shorthand. What we really just mean is he's crossing that line. That line, especially which is defined in a Batman comic, because Batman has that line, and he always has that line.
Well, and Gordon too. Gordon was the clean cop working with all the corrupt cops.
Yeah.
So I really think that Robinson is hitting a stride with this one, with all those themes.
It's not been it's had its rough patches as an arc, but I can't deny that this issue made the whole thing quite interesting. And the idea that Gordon was hoping that Harvey was back, and that's why he saved him in the police station. Yeah. And Two-Face claims it wasn't that. Two-Face claims that he's just, taking out Cobra, and it wasn't because he wanted to save his friend. And it's like, but do we really believe that? Is there any hope in there that it is actually just because he wants to save Gordon? And it all builds up to the idea that Two-Face is like, no, I got the plans for what Cobra are doing. This is the locations they're going to hit. So the issue ends with Two-Face riding the Batmobile with Batman, guns blazing.
I love it.
It's probably the best
glorious image.
It's the best page of the book, I think. It's that page of him. It's all the speed blur lines of the traffic, and he's on top of the Batmobile.
He's, double fisting the pistols hanging out the top.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
It's cool. It reminded very Mad Max. Reminded me of that image. But yeah, this is why Two-Face is probably my outside of Poison Ivy, my favorite Bat villain. Like, because I don't class her as a villain that much anymore. She's much more of an anti-hero.
Two-Face is one of those villains I want to love, but rarely has amazing stories anymore.
Well, for the longest time,
Condiment King's the same, I think.
For the longest time, I thought Riddler was my favorite Bat villain, but it turns out I just really liked Paul Dini's Riddler and his tech run.
Detective Riddler.
Yeah, I really like that. And then as I got deep into Snyder's version of Riddler, I'm like, I don't like this Riddler. I don't think I like Riddler as much as I thought I did. Versus I realized solid is Two-Face. There's a lot of good Two-Face stories out there.
Yeah.
So
I don't think there was anything wrong with Snyder's Riddler either. I think that was a very typical Riddler.
Not a fan. It's not that. I wasn't a fan. It was everything I don't like in Snyder comics in a character. He's very wordy and very just I'm gonna monologue this all. And
but I have to be honest. If there's a Bat villain I think of monologuing, it's probably Riddler.
Yeah, but look how King handled that in War Jokes and Riddles versus. There is a way to do it. I just don't like the way that Snyder had chose to execute.
I don't think.
And plus, Zero here.
I think Snyder's just not good at monologues. Is basically what we're saying here.
That could be, but yeah, no. Two-Face he's my ride or die Batman, and I will read basically any Two-Face story, and that's how I ended up reading All-Star or Batman, and that was a mistake.
I've read a couple of issues just to see the absurdity.
Yeah. So.
So I mean, this is probably it's probably the best issue of the arc so far. I liked the first one a lot actually when it was just saving people from the burning building because the art carried that one really a lot.
Yeah, I really like the Fireflies stuff.
Yeah, the two of them. Before we realized it was a Two-Face story, it was cool because you had them playing off of each other and. One Firefly trying to teach the new one.
I think last issue suffered from being a transition between the two halves of the arc.
It did, but it did have that fantastic GCPD scene, which I thought was the highlight of the issue. And I think every issue's had at least one highlight where I'm like, no, I really like that scene. That scene really stuck out. It's been really good. And I think this one was kind of just two big scenes. It was really just the conversation with Dent for the most part.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of made it feel kind of important. It felt like it was a callback to Long Halloween and the origins of Dent and Batman and Two-Face and Gordon, and having all that and then ending with them working together one final time, but in this weird kind of uneasy way because he's Two-Face still now, but he's not back to Harvey Dent. Is an interesting theme to play with, and then again, add in Two-Face's existential crisis that he's worried that he's irrelevant because Harvey Dent's maybe crossing the line. That Two-Face as a personality exists because he does the things that Harvey might want to do but wouldn't do.
But
and the idea that Harvey has a bit more control because he just makes the choice for himself here, whereas Two-Face still needs the coin.
Right.
So there's kind of that extra level there for him of the fear of the independence.
Well, I also like the idea that Bruce believes in Harvey enough still to team up with Two-Face. He believes that Harvey's still that good, and that shiny knight from Dark Knight. That version.
There's definitely been different interpretations of how to handle Two-Face though, because sometimes it's not a case of one has a. Because sometimes it is literally both Harvey and Two-Face are always there, and that's the coin flip. That's why there's always a coin flip because he's deciding between the two. And here it's treating it more of a Jekyll and Hyde thing, which is also a traditional kind of representation.
Yeah.
So it's kind of which way the writer wants to go. I actually don't know which one I prefer because I can think of great examples of both working really well.
I'm kind of okay with either or.
Yeah. Because I think Arkham Asylum, A Serious House, and A Serious Earth goes more into he's always both there, but that has a really great moment in it because of that.
You still need to read that.
Yeah, you do.
You really do. The art is otherworldly, and I mean that.
I do like Morrison Batman. So
yeah.
Oh, this is the least Morrison-y thing that Morrison's ever done.
Well, that's why I like his Batman so much because it gets to Morrison-y places, but early on it's just straight up Batman stuff. If he's not sidetracked by the Death Scorpions.
If Batman went to Silent Hill, that book is what it would look like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still don't know Silent Hill, but cool.
Basically, what we're saying, Matt, is it's Halloween in a few days. Just sit down and read it.
Yeah, it's like 60 pages or 80 pages or something like that. It's not a big
I do have to run to the library to drop off some books for donation. Maybe they'll have it. Maybe I can just check it out. I'll go check.
It's a long circulating book that's had many versions, so it should be there.
Yeah.
All right. It was a solid issue, I thought.
Yeah, me too.
I really liked it.
Yeah. All right, Matt, what are you rating it?
Oh, this is an 8. Again, and that final image, I think, really pushes it over that line. So, just makes me smile. I got to that page, I was reading it in bed, and my wife's like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Two-Face is doing cool stuff." She's like, "Oh, never mind." So,
Another feeling.
Yeah.
Connor, what you give it?
I hate to be on the same line as Matt again, but yeah, it's an 8.
Fine.
I'll probably also give it an 8, and I think what's impressive here is that it has been kind of hovering. I think I can't remember what I gave the last 3 issues of it, but I think it's been hovering between 6.5 and 7.5. So this it's nice that it's kind of upswinging, and it's like it's going to end on a high note maybe.
Makes me feel I can trust Robinson again after that debacle on Wonder Woman.
Here's the thing though: if you give him Wonder Woman but didn't say, "Hey, you have to do this Jason crap that was set up,"
but
what do you get from it?
Yeah, but that's like Jaws would be a worse movie if they showed the shark the whole time, ifs and buts.
I don't know if that's a perfect comparison.
One was a creative choice. One was no, you're being told.
I'm just saying, something that I really love could have been really bad, and something that was really bad I could have loved. It's just it's that duality again.
Yeah, but in the Jaws example though, Spielberg, knowing it didn't work, made a choice to make it better. Whereas Robinson didn't have that ability because he was told, "No, you have to do this Jason crap."
I mean, he could have written Jason that he wasn't.
He killed him early on. He could have just left it. There's the creative choice there. So.
Robinson
remember how excited we were, Pete?
Going to be anywhere else after this?
I don't think he's scheduled for anything after this detective arc now.
Okay.
No. From what I understand, I forget what indie book he's doing, but it's based off of an old Golden Age. I think it's Airboy. I want to say. Apparently, that's meant to be really good. Really meta and stuff. So maybe he'll retreat back into that.
Yeah, I could see him popping up in another DC book. Maybe they'll announce something for some time next year that'll be on.
Maybe he's on Green Arrow.
Maybe he'll be on Green Arrow next.
I'd be okay with him doing a Green Arrow story.
Yeah, that seems like it'd be fine. I think the dialogue that he's got Bruce saying might actually work better out of Ollie's mouth. To be honest, it feels more Oliver dialogue.
Yeah,
it does.
I could feel the "come on, man," but in a very much exasperated.
I can see Ollie saying that.
Yeah.
What he needs to do is just do a rip-off of Matt Fraction's Hawkeye and just start every issue. Okay, this looks bad. Just play with it. Just go with it. Do a full Terrifics and just do the Marvel thing.
Why not?
I just the funeral issue. Had they started it like that?
Oh, no, what you do is.
I know what you're thinking. This is bad.
Y'all take slightly. Instead of saying this, okay, I know this looks bad. You say, okay, this doesn't look good.
Yeah.
Just flip it a little bit.
I do like that DC is finally making it dangerous to be a sidekick. Between you have the original 3 in Speedy, Robin, and Kid Flash, and something bad's happened to all 3 of them.
Yeah, don't encourage them.
I'm just saying, that was always Stan Lee's take why there was no sidekicks in Marvel. They're like, who would take a kid into a battle with them? Ignoring the fact that Bucky was a kid back in the
the problem is, this is all the consequences have happened when they're adults and not kids.
I know. That's
give Damien a bullet and maybe we're talking.
I'm just saying.
I feel like it was Duke he was hoping for was going to catch a bullet, not Damien. I feel like that's what that was.
I just went with the youngest one that sprung to mind.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you want to take this attitude to Jason, I mean, I'll accept it.
Again.
Yeah, again. Catch a crowbar too.
Yeah.
So far, Damien's the only. No, he's died. Just remember, he died too. Every Robin has died now. And I know you're saying Dick Grayson's not dead, but he's dead to me. So.
Yeah, and Tim only died
Yeah, but still, for the sake of storytelling, all the Robins
All the
have died.
Robins have died at some point.
And so is Batman.
This was Batman.
Except for Duke, but Duke really was never Robin. So
Bat
I mean, even
Batgirl was
even
paralyzed. Steph died when she was Robin, so she counts as both
Yeah.
Batgirl and Robin.
Mhm.
So Cass has not died yet. And Kate's
No.
not died, I don't think. So yeah, there you go. There's two of them still going strong.
yeah,
But
Kate's not sidekick.
out of just Batman and Robin, they've all died.
I remember Wizard used to do these parody covers, and there was one of Batman with this young boy in the cave, and there were all these Robin costumes. There was like a museum. He's like, "I want you to be my Robin," and the kid's like, "I don't know if this is a good idea." Like, but it's just wall to wall. There's Robin costumes hanging from the ceiling. He's surrounded by cases. It cracked me up. Little did they know that would just be 20 years later.
Yeah,
True.
I think you realise just how silly the age that Damien and some of the Robins are supposed to be when you see like a kid who's that age cosplaying as Robin at a con.
Yep.
And you're like, this is bullshit, I can take him.
But see, that's why Damien makes sense, because it's that sense of you don't realize he's been trained by master assassins since birth, you know. So it
Also,
holds you in a false sense of security.
the cosplayers don't have really sharp swords.
They do where I'm from, and they make you tie them down. Okay. Thanks, Vegas. You
Yeah,
can't
but they
mix
don't give-
alcohol
they-
and swords.
They don't give them to the kids, right?
I've seen some stuff.
I've seen some shit.
Yeah, no joke. If they came in with a sword that can be drawn out, they zip tie it down. Just because they don't, once somebody gets stabbed at Comic-Con San Diego over a Harry Potter seat, like, we're not going to let you play with actual swords. So,
Told you Harry Potter was bad.
you're wrong, sir.
Harry Potter's fault. It's that J.K. Rowling. She's just causing chaos wherever she goes.
Oh man, we're getting pretty close to the new Fantastic Beasts.
You can have it. I want nothing to do. You two go for it.
We will. Well, I was pulling out my Blu-rays, and I was like, oh yeah, I get to watch Fantastic Beasts again. This is exciting.
That'd be nice.
Do you know how many Harry Potter movies I own on Blu-ray, Matt?
Not enough.
All of them. All eight. All eight of the first ones. You don't have Fantastic Beasts yet.
0. Big fat
Guys, if you guys want to do
0.
Pete a favor, get them on digital for him.
Well,
Send them to him.
What we need to do, we need to have a PO box just so people can swamp you with Harry Potter Blu-rays.
That's always the thing. If people want to send gifts, I'm always curious as to what would the percentage of joke ones be that are just sent to piss me off, as opposed
All
to
of them.
not all of them. There'll be one or two nice people who send me something nice. I'm sure of it. Nice people exist.
Maybe.
But here's the problem, though. I don't know what you have. So, because you have a million Blu-rays.
This is
You
true,
are
but-
that scene in Hot Fuzz where they go to the cabinet, like,
Yeah.
the pantry.
Yeah.
and it's just
Except-
full
except-
of it.
Except that movie's old enough that it's all DVDs.
Yeah, but it was
Right.
acceptable enough at the time.
Yeah.
It's still a lot, though, even if that's vinyls or CDs or
Oh,
whatever.
sure.
It's still, whatever medium it is, it's a ton. So, I got rid of a whole bunch. I have a box I have to take to the record store that takes stuff in. I was just like, if I hadn't watched it in the last 5 years, it was getting...
For the
thrown in that
record, for
box.
anyone who thinks I got rid of a bunch of Blu-rays, I didn't. Like, I know that the bookcase that was on this side is missing now. That's because I knocked
just
over
moved it.
the bookcase. No, the bookcase smashed. It fell over and broke in a fit of
Them
rage.
cats, probably.
You
Wasn't
got
it-
bad at video games.
No, it
and
wasn't
you
the
kicked
cats.
it.
It was me. I got frustrated at something, and I might have not intentionally pushed it, but I might have
I
backed
was-
away in anger, and it went.
I was
pulled it
kidding,
back.
and it turned out to be true. Yeah, you did it to me. I kicked me and Ashley got into a fight over those same Blu-rays yesterday, and I kicked the box, and broke it.
Well, at least you didn't punch a wall in your new house already.
And for the
No,
record,
because it's my house. Therefore, I have to fix it now.
I don't get that angry at video games. This was getting angry at tech troubleshooting on a computer, which does make me livid. That makes me livid. When computers don't work when I think they should, I get really salty.
That's
Really
me with any
salty.
kind of technology, whether it's my phone, iPad,
I
computer,
think it's worse because
cable box.
He understands exactly what he's looking for, right? You know,
Yes.
Whereas Matt's just like, I don't get it. It's just not doing it.
Yes.
Or if he's like he's looking at it, it should work. It's just not doing it.
Yeah, I become a caveman, and if I can't hit it and fix it, it's broken.
I mean, it's hilarious. Every time something doesn't work when I think it should, there'll be some new obscure little fault that I'll find and I'll understand. So next time if it happens again, I can fix it. But every time it happens, and it's like
always something new.
It's like, God damn it! What is it? The voltage in the RAM that's not set properly? Is it the hard drive's not plugged in correctly? Is it this? Is it that? All these stupid things, and it just it makes you upset, and I get upset.
You fix it with a hammer and duct tape. It ain't broke.
And the upsetting part is in this case, it was just the graphics card I bought was faulty. It wasn't even something I could fix, which is really upsetting because it was all for nothing. I could have just quit after 5 minutes, and it'd have been fine.
I tried to fix my shower at the old house before we moved, and I ended up having to call out a plumber, and it cost me almost $300. Had I just called the plumber out, it would have been half the price. But because I thought I can fix it, I made it way worse. So
yeah, no, I wouldn't try the plumbing. I'm not ambitious enough for that.
Oh no, the plumbers at work are like, oh no, you can do it. It's easy. Yeah,
okay.
they miss.
No, that's it. When something goes wrong, I'm like, oh man, I think it's this problem, and my boss is like, you'll be fine, just go for it, and it just it doesn't go well, does it?
No.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a tangent. Let's move on to the next book, which is Action Comics 1004. Brian Michael Bendis writing, Ryan Sook on the art, and so Connor's not reading Bendis Superman because he's bit Connor.
No.
So I never said that bad.
I could feel the implication was there. I could feel it. It's just it was all in the tone of voice.
All right.
Not to make Connor feel dumb, but this is fantastic. So
it's pretty good. I did have a little bit of an issue with this one.
Ooh.
With Lois?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, you had a problem specifically with that she said baby too much, and I agree she said that too much. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like yes, it feels like Lois, but it feels like imposter Lois. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
because here's my thing. I mean, if it turns out it's an imposter, then sure, we'll go down that path. I don't think it is though. I
don't either.
My thing is that the issue is mainly like, it's telling us, okay, so what happened when Clark went to see her, and we see them in bed, and we see them, reconcile. We see them flying at the end, and it's kind of her explaining. First of all, she shows them, oh, John's fine. He's with his grandfather. It was dangerous for me. He's fine. He's it's like
I love the
he hit puberty.
By the way, your dad is crazy as you thought he was. Like, I love that as someone with a dad who I have a difficult relationship. That is something my wife would tell me. Yeah, your dad is as crazy as you think he is.
Yeah.
So,
I think for me, it's just I don't know if her entire thing, her entire motivation for her like hiding herself from him and wanting to not be living together right now. I don't know if it necessarily clicked together for me.
No, I feel there's going to be more coming up later.
Yeah.
But, this is just the seed of it, because whatever happened in space is what caused her to feel this way. And we don't know what that is yet. Now, if we get there and it's just something that's kind of like, oh, well, I couldn't be around these Kryptonians and be a human, then I'm going to feel a little robbed, But if something like major happened and she was just a liability, and she's like, well, I got to go back to what I know I'm good at, then I can see this kind of attitude.
Yeah, it never quite clicked for me where I'm like, okay, I get why she's been doing this then. I never had that moment. She's telling me that she felt that Clark and John didn't need her anymore, and she has to go back to her roots and be a writer. It felt a little bit like, okay, here's the drama reason, because Bendis just wants her to be kind of separate for a while and do her own thing for a while, as opposed to actually feeling justifiable to the character. It's not a big deal. Like it's not like, oh my god, this is a betrayal of everything they are or anything like that. It's just, I don't know if I quite necessarily feel that the reason is working for me. Now, the stuff that it's teasing that Lex has apparently offered her own paper is like, oh, okay, that's a thing we could do. That's something interesting.
So while I had issues with the amount of time she says baby to Clark, I feel Bendis' voice for her is spot on. Like, she has that trademark Lois, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, there's a bite to her. You know what I mean?
It's not quite snark. I don't think snark's the right word.
No, yeah, and that's why I don't want to say snark or salt, but there's a little twinge of like attitude. And it's hard to describe, but I think Bendis got it here. Just like with the way that they talk about Lex here, you know? But
oh yeah, the whole idea that like he assumed that Superman was close by, so she just kind of went along with that assumption so that he wouldn't try anything stupid.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Because there's the whole scene where Trish like has a photo of Lex with Lois and starts asking Clark, "How do you feel about this?" There's rumors about what's going on. They're at the motel bedroom together, and you know Clark isn't worried about that, but there's this public perception now, and Perry kicks her out and gets really kind of upset as well.
Yeah. I love how he's like, "I said I would never hire another gossip columnist after Cap Grant, but they assured me you'd be fine, and I've made a huge mistake." Like I read that as Job, so. But yeah, I love his Perry too. Like this is like the amalgamation of all the Perrys from pop culture that I love. Like I hear Lane Smith in there, you know, but yeah.
Yeah. Or even Clark and Lois saying "Great Caesar's ghost" after they have sex. It's pretty funny.
So like again, I don't want to sound pervy, but that scene was hilarious. Where it looks like they plop into bed.
Why would that be pervy sounding? You said you found it hilarious.
Just, I don't know.
It's not like you said, I hope it doesn't sound too pervy, but oh god, I was really sweating during that scene. Oh, Lois and Clark.
No, but yeah, just the
what
empty.
The hell did I miss? I come back and I just go, Matt going, oh, I hope I don't sound pervy.
just the fact that they're. Where are they on the bed? Are they floating? Are they so into it that Clark's lifted off? Are they just on the other end of the bed? Like, I don't want to sound
see the pillows, Matt.
Too much thought.
A normal couple could have just been down the bed a bit, doggy style. They finish and then they plop back to the pillows.
But they're not a normal couple, Pete. He's an alien.
Well, true. They could have been floating, but I could explain this for normal people too. This isn't that weird.
I know, but the fact that I was thinking about it, that's why I didn't want to come off as pervy. Like. You know, it's the whole Mallrats thing where you're like, wow, your friend thinks about superhero sex organs more than anybody I've ever heard. You know, I
never thought about it. I just said, they were having sex further down the bed. That's all I thought. And then they lie back into bed.
The disorientation too, where they come in upside down.
Yeah, that's a nice touch.
Like I like that, and then he leaves to go to Iron Heights. I thought that was pretty fun because you had some rogues. Well, they're not really rogue.
Copperhead attacked the planet at one point, and he swoops in and deals with it. I like how he looks at the old newspaper, the front cover, the Death of Superman cover. He's like, "Hey, good old days, eh, Perry?" He's like,
yeah.
He's like, "Yeah."
Also, him checking Perry for cancer. I was just like, "Oh man." Like,
yeah, because Perry asked for it, like he's asked for it a few times, and he's like, "Nope, still no sign of cancer. You're good, Perry."
Yep.
And he's like, "Thanks." I'm like, all right, that's a neat touch. I mean, I think the ending.
We gotta talk about the scene. Okay, talk about the end, and we'll talk about the middle part.
Yeah, I just want to say that the ending is kind of perfect, though. I think that as much as I have some problems with her reasons for why she's doing what she's doing right now, I think the ending scene is perfectly sweet, and it feels very Clark and Lois. It feels like small villain Lois, even if you want to put it that way.
Yeah.
Where it doesn't matter that they're flying, and this issue is reaffirming that hey, anyone who's worried about him splitting them up, it's not happening. He's doing something different for a while, where they're not necessarily being like a married unit, but there's nothing weird you need to be worried about necessarily. Although I will say I do get this feeling though that John's going to come back a bit older.
Me too.
He's going to come back and he's going to be like 14, 15. He's going to be like a proper teen.
It seems the way she was talking about it was like he hit puberty and turned into a monster. Right?
Speaking of pervy, yeah, horny little teenage John going around with his heat vision. Which, I mean...
in that last scene, too, where he wants to read her book, and she's like, well, it's not ready. And he's like, well, Cat Grant already read it. And like Lois gets legit pissed because of course Cat got an advance copy, but I thought that it's those little touches right there where they do feel like a married couple.
Yeah,
you know?
Which by the way, they've had the recap pages on these Action Comics issues. This one, it's Lois's desk at the motel right now, and one of the posts it says Supergirl season 3, an issue 23 out now. Like as if she's put a reminder up saying go buy the Blu-ray. Season 3's out.
Oh shoot! I didn't notice that one.
Yeah, I noticed that one.
I like the tell Clark I'm back ? Jurgen's case files is on there. Factual comparison of Byrne and Bendis Man of Steel.
There's another reference to this event or whatever he's doing coming up.
The Leviathan.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 texts from Snapper Carr. There's on her phone. It's got the Shazam, the official movie soundtrack.
Yeah, it's a very meta page, isn't it?
And I like what she's talking about in that article. Did you read that?
I had a glance at it. Remind me.
So it's just basically how like these 3 simple ideas that Superman stands for: choose justice the American way. In modern times, they've been perverted by others in power that should know better. But what makes Superman so great is he still uses what they mean to him. So like, yeah, why they've changed in the public consciousness, they haven't changed the Superman. So he's going to do it in his own way. It says, even if everything were to rewind back to normal by the time you read this, which it won't, but even if it did, these ideas have been so abused and manipulated that the healing, the attempt to find our compass in the modern age will take years. We're lucky to have someone like Superman who believes in these concepts as a religion. And it's just like, all right, well, Bendis, can you have essays like in the back of those Phillips and Brubaker books? Because I would read this. Like, just what he thinks of Superman in the modern era. You know, to pick his brain just a little bit. So,
what you're saying is you know how Morrison did the Super Gods book?
Yeah.
Yeah, you want a Bendis book.
Well, because I bought Bendis's book, but it was more of a textbook of how to make comics. Well, that's fine because it's fun. Like you have these guest chapters by like Matt Fraction and Kelly Sue and all of his friends. Rucka has one and stuff. But it wasn't the same. It wasn't like this. Let's break it down. Why superheroes are the way they are.
Have you read Super Gods?
No. Every time I go to buy it at Barnes and Noble, they can't find the copy.
I got it really cheap. At one point. I think it was my comic store had a few copies, and it was like one of the sales they were doing, and it was like really cheap. So I thought I'll grab it.
Yeah, and I mean, I can order it from Amazon when I want, but I still like to go to a store and find things. You know, that's part of the hunt or whatever. But yeah, I love when writers that I enjoy break down these superhero concepts. So, and just that one by Lois feels like a Lois article, but also like, hey, let's have this full thing.
Yeah, no, it's good.
But the kiss. What'd you feel about? They're in the middle of Chicago. Superman swoops down, and he kisses his wife. I just took that. People were like, oh, secret identity. But the way that I feel, it's like at this moment, he hasn't seen Lois in so long.
Yeah,
he just doesn't care.
This is a problem for me. I remember our friend James, when this image got released, this preview image, said, "Oh, I don't think that's what you think it is, because why would they kiss in public like that?" 2 things. 1, I don't think Superman cares at this point, and then 2, I don't think anyone knows that's Lois Lane, because A, she's got a wig on since she's in Chicago. I don't think it's a concern. I really don't.
No, it's just like, well, who's Superman's girlfriend?
Yeah.
You know, like who is this lady?
Yeah.
So yeah, I love how that scene plays out though, because it's textless. It's just images.
Because we'd seen the start of this scene before. This was a few issues ago. We saw the ending, which didn't actually happen until this issue.
Right.
I mean, it says some of the conversation happened last night because he. Well, no, it did happen because he mentioned it to Jimmy last issue. Yeah, he'd seen Lois.
So this is a tennis match. It's what's going on.
Yeah,
so.
It's going back and forth. Yeah. But then eventually, the next time he sees her, it's after she's seen Lex. So we see before and after that. Yeah. No, it's pretty good.
She knocks he knocks her wig off when he swoops in, and she says, "Hi, honey." But yeah, it's not like anybody's paying attention to it. It's not like, I mean, that guy in the phone comes up behind him, but it's because Superman's there making out with a lady. Like,
yeah.
You know,
I mean, it never even really crossed my mind more than a second.
Me neither. I just, as a fan of Superman and Lois, or Clark and Lois, the fact that we got the scene and has that emotional
the page is gorgeous. I mean, Connor's not read
like,
this one, but he was mentioning how stacked it is for art this week. This is on the pile.
Yes, it is.
So that's the thing.
But yeah.
But anyway, so rate the book, Matt.
Oh,
so we can move
it's
on.
a 9, but I'm biased.
9.
So.
I'm gonna give it an 8. I think Lucy's reasons feel a little bit just here's the reasons so that we can do the plot we want to do, as opposed to something that feels completely natural to me yet. But
so John comes back in what, 3 issues? It's 10,007 or 1,007.
10,007, Matt. How many issues are we getting in the next few months?
What century are we in? But it's 1007. That came out as 10,007, but I meant to say 1007. But yeah. So we have 3 issues to I think find out.
Okay.
And if the payoff doesn't equate, I'll be a little bit of upset. But I'm enjoying this enough. Action is still one of my favorite books.
I like everything else about it. I like the supporting cast. I like Perry. I like the Trish stuff. With her being invasive.
Ooh.
All the actual
find out who Red Cloud is. That's the tease at the end of this issue. So.
He's got an idea, right? He thinks he knows who it is. But you get all this stuff. The Lois and Clark moments are actually really sweet, especially the scene at the end. It's just some of our reasons feel a little bit just kind of forced so that we can do the plot we want to do, as opposed to feeling natural to make sense. But it's not a huge deal, I think, in the long run. We'll see how it goes. But it's good. All right, that'll take us on to The Flash, number 57. Joshua Williamson writing, Scott Kolins on the art. This is rounding out the Heatwave Sage Force arc, setting up the Force quest that Barry's going to go on at the end of the issue. What do you think, Corey? You've been quiet, and
I liked it. Just a little side note on this issue before talk about what's actually in it. This issue, I noticed when he was talking about Wally, it didn't sound like he was gone. It sounded like, no, he's just away at Sanctuary. As opposed to a couple of issues ago where we were questioning it.
Oh, true, yeah.
But it really just sounded like, no, he's over at Sanctuary in this issue.
But when you're a Flash, are you ever really gone? Because timey-wimey.
No, that's true.
Timey-wimey, indeed.
As for the issue itself, it's not bad. It's kind of just a continuation of what we've been doing.
Yeah, it's fun stuff. There's some reveals there about Iris remembering that she actually researched the forces before Flashpoint.
I like the idea of the fire maze early on.
You don't like that? Why do you not like that, Matt?
It feels like a clumsy retcon that she's like, oh, well, no, these forces were always there.
No, I have to agree. It kind of feels a bit easy, right?
I mean, I think for me, the reason why I'm not against it as of yet is because it's like, well, okay, why was she researching these? I'm assuming we're going to get to that. I'm assuming there's going to be more to this.
I like the idea that maybe whatever happened in Flashpoint also gave birth to these forces, and if she was doing them before Flashpoint, then
I guess it's just.
Wait, why did you think Flashpoint had anything to do with creating them?
That's my jumping off point for Williamson. Is like, as much as it pays homage to the John stuff, I feel like the whole Iris remembering but Barry not, I feel that's the crux, right? So I felt like anything new happened to Barry happened post Flashpoint. Like, that's my own interpretation.
I think for me, at least, the idea that all these forces came about because of the No Justice stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what set this into motion. The idea that this was going on pre-Flashpoint, where we weren't even remotely in a similar place.
No,
I mean, it feels a bit easy to me as just an excuse to have her know information.
Because we know that Zolomon knew about them from his time in the future, right?
Right.
So, yeah. So again, it's all this timey-wimey stuff.
I mean,
but it doesn't feel like outside of the Still Force. But then again, you can make the argument the Still Force existed before this.
Because of the turtle, yeah.
So why wouldn't the other ones?
But the thing is, though, I mean, No Justice is why they all broke out because they broke the Source Wall, but that doesn't mean they didn't exist before. So it doesn't necessarily mean that they weren't there to be researched in some capacity. And maybe it was because something Zolomon related that she found out about them, or maybe it's something else.
It's like I said, to me, it feels at the moment like an easy way for her to have information. Like, we needed to know something.
She has to come along on this Force quest, and she can't just be there, for whatever reason. You got to give her a reason.
Even in this issue, where she's just like, how do I know that? It's like, that information that she knows just to solve the problem. It's like, how are we going to get out of this? Oh, she remembers something. Like, it feels like such an easy get out of jail free thing.
I mean, potentially, but if they don't do anything with it, then fair enough. I'll agree with that. But given the fact that she's going on the Force Quest with him, which is a really sweet moment then, by the way, when you think she's going to be pissed that he's leaving for a while, and he's like really like upset about having to tell her that he's going on this Force Quest. He's like, "No, I'm coming with you, dummy." And we get that nice big spread of him carrying her off. Like, I feel like no, she's going with him, so we're going to further explore this. The fact that she has knowledge about these things. I don't think it's going to be just a one-time thing. Like, this has to be at least tied into why she knows about them before.
Yeah. I guess I'm kind of with Matt. Ultimately, I'm not keen on the idea that she knew about them before. I like the idea. I liked when this was a whole fresh concept of breaking out No Justice, New Justice. We got this whole stuff, and then like, it was going on before. Even if they weren't active forces, she was researching them for some reason. It's less interesting to me.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I feel like these things always had to exist in some capacity. We may never have read about them or known about them, but they had to exist in some form.
Well,
so,
with what we find out at the end about the multiverse, what if through some way she's getting another multiverse's Iris's memories?
I could see that because we've got this Hunter Zolomon that I'm not convinced is our Hunter Zolomon.
No, it's a Hunter Zolomon.
Yes, it's a Hunter Zolomon.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know. I'm enjoying it enough though. I like the stuff with Heatwave here, and about Wally and Burns trying to talk him down, but it takes Cold. Not Captain Cold, but Commander Cold masquerading.
Yeah, him pretending to be Captain Cold was good. I like that stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like that stuff.
And I like how they played off the heat and the cold because I love their dichotomy.
And even just before that, even when he's just blasting Heatwave when he's lying there with the guns just to keep him cool because he's going to go nuclear, which is kind of a fun visual, if nothing else.
No, I think Cold had a lot of good stuff in this issue. Even the moment where he says, call me Henry. And he's like, oh, that's my dad's name. He's like, yeah, I know. That's all history.
yeah, your history
he's the West. He's an Allen.
Yeah.
No, I happen to agree. I think this is that clue.
Yeah, he's actually a descendant of Barry. Yeah. I can see it. I like that. I like them having their moment and the sweet ending, and of course the multiverse cliffhanger of this is Hunter Zolomon's going around killing Flashes in different places.
Yeah, and let's start off with the big problem with this epilogue, is that why would you waste someone as cool as Johnny Thunder here?
Yeah.
Make Matt.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying. I get it. You want to kill off a different Flash, make the point. But did you have to have a cool one? Because I'd have liked to read more stories with this dude.
I want to read this Justice Writers. I got to track this down because just the idea of the Justice League in the Old West. That's super cool.
Yeah, it is.
Also, it's worth mentioning. I don't think this is an art mistake. Zolomon doesn't have like a mouth. It's like he's got like just a blank, expressionless skin.
What I thought that was he was doing the vibrating blur thing.
Okay.
To hide his identity, which is weird given that
he announces who he is,
claiming who he is. Yeah.
Which is why I never thought of that. I don't think.
Yeah. What if it's a
But now you've mentioned that, I can kind of see all these little speed lines as if he is going back and forth.
Yeah, I think that's what it was supposed to be. I could be wrong. That's the impression I got. And like I say, I think it's weird given that he's proclaiming his identity. He's saying, "Oh, I'm Hunter Zolomon," and it's like, okay, so who are you really?
I guess he's just always vibrating. That's his thing. He just always does it, no matter what.
Yeah.
Because even if you know who he is, it's still creepy that he's all faceless.
And also, who's he saying this to? He's just killed the dude. This is one of those things I really don't like.
Oh, this is just a comic book thing in general. This isn't this issue.
No, it is. But it's one of those things that always bugs me. Have them say it to someone at least.
Okay.
Or have it be in a monologue.
I would trade with the mystery of how Iris was researching this stuff. I'm curious because I do think they're going to touch on that more. It feels like beyond just having the emotional beat of her remembering the wedding and remembering stuff that Barry isn't, that there's going to be more plot that comes from the fact that she's remembering certain things. And that could go good, it could go bad, but I'm intrigued right now as to where that ends up. But Force Quest should be fun.
Yeah.
We'll see where that goes. Heatwave stuff was good. I liked how Warden Wolf was flipping his shit because Heatwave was gone, and then you know Barry just kind of puts them back in the building, and they kind of wake up as if it's like, oh,
yeah.
What happened?
Should they not be finding Barry in there as well? Or was it? No, he was as a Flash, wasn't he?
Yeah,
it was the Flash.
So Burns
also
is just like,
Heatwave's
oh, it's such a
Burns.
weird dream that I had. All that weird flame stuff.
And Heatwave's all unscarred.
Healed.
Yeah.
Which, again, I like because I feel like this is Williamson's long way of fixing the New 52 versions. So,
yeah, I could see that.
you know.
And if he starts having the sense of humor that the TV show version does, because I never thought I'd say this, but Mechon Legends is like my favorite Heatwave at this point.
Wow.
Yeah, mine too.
He's hilarious. It's great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Doesn't look as cool. He's not got a cool suit or anything like that, but I mean, it's a sense of humor.
But personality is what counts.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you want to add, Matt?
No, I'm good. I mean, the art, it's Colin still, right?
Yeah, it's not Collins.
It's what you expect, right?
Yeah, it was just consistent in the last few.
Good.
Which is good because you were quite positive in the last few. All right, so there you go. That is the Flash. We're rating it, Matt. What are you giving it?
Oh, this was an 8. It's a fun issue. I had a lot of fun with it.
Connor.
I'm breaking away a little bit because I'm giving it a solid 7. I think it's pretty good.
Cool. I will go. I also go with an 8. I thought it was really good, solid.
Yeah.
I think Flash has been consistently solid for a while.
Yeah.
At this point. All right, moving on. Batgirl number 28. I forgot how to say her name. Mairghread Scott.
Yeah.
Oh man,
and
my shop didn't get this.
Oh, did you not get read this?
And I forgot to read it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Matt.
Forgot to get it digitally.
Paul Pelletier on the art. With that fantastic variant cover, which may come up in the conversation towards the end of the show.
Yeah, the variant's a Middleton one, right?
Yeah, it is something else. It's been my phone background since it was revealed. So
See, I can't have dark phone backgrounds because it bugs me. I need the light ones. I need one with a bit of brightness to it so it pops when I unlock the phone.
And I like it because I often look at my phone in the dark, and the less blinding it is, the better for my eyes.
See,
that Middleton one is
it's incredible. Right? No, I like to use. I don't like bothering putting the torch on my phone on, but I like just using the brightness of my phone to see where I'm going at night.
Oh, see, what you do is you have your lock screen be the darker one, but then you swipe it.
Oh no, I can't have different things.
What? That's weird.
No,
I've always had two different ones. Always.
No, never. That is, just horrible.
Okay, this is one of Connell's weird things that just make no sense, and he's pernickety about.
Y'all keep talking. I'm skimming through Batgirl right now.
He's skimming through Batgirl.
Yeah.
We gotta kill another couple of minutes.
Yeah.
You guys are good.
So Batgirl, we deal with grotesque, and do you know what I like about this is it very quickly answers the obvious thing we were guessing last issue, which is who the real grotesque or the new grotesque is, who's actually killing people. And it's still very much tied to the dark web, which I kind of like because it feels like more of a Batgirl villain, given that she's so good with computers. It feels more in her wheelhouse. But I like how kind of manic he feels because the dark web's talking to him and he feels kind of unhinged and he's going around. Batgirl kind of realizes this, and by the end she realizes that this art auction that's going on is a long game by Grotesque to commit a massacre essentially. So she's speeding off towards the end. The heart of the issue, though, I think, is the scene between Barbara and her dad. I
feel like it should be. I found it a little clunky.
A little clunky, okay.
Yeah.
Where she comes home and he's like, "You're sneaking home like a teenager when you should be getting rest." Because it's not like he's like, "Oh, because she's an adult, she can do what she wants." But it's like, no, you're supposed to be getting rest because you've collapsed like multiple times now at this point. And she brings up how she always has to be the best because that's what Gordons are. She can never just rest, and she sort of in an indirect says, "Oh, you kind of pressured me a bit when I was healing from my gunshot and so on." And it gets to kind of some of the heart of that. But I thought it was a pretty sweet scene.
I like a lot of what it's saying, but it's just a little clunkily executed. It kind of took away from it a bit for me. But overall, I like the point of the scene.
Yeah. Do you know what's funny? I'm just opening it. The regular cover is pretty good as well. It's just not as good as the variant.
Oh, it's a perfectly good cover. I mean, I take by the look of this is one of the foil covers for this month.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of those.
I like the foil versions, where it pops a little. The standard version where it just looks like block colors and it's a bit too overpowering.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing with the detective who's grotesque is we see that as a way to control him. I assume this is his dead wife or dead girlfriend. Yeah. The dark web kind of creates in the hologram to be with him.
It points out that he's just an addict and he just needs his next fix. Okay.
And so you're thinking, so what was he addicted to? And then you get this scene where it's his dead wife. So this is what he's addicted to. Which is at least an interesting, because he's not necessarily an interesting character that much on his own, but like that's at least an interesting quirk
that's
to
a
him.
wrinkle.
Yeah. That's a wrinkle. And Bab's struggling with her grappling and falling down, and like, I don't usually have this many hands. I thought it was a nice little touch.
And then at the end, you've got to rush into the gallery because obviously, Gordon's there. Yeah,
and she's still got the clock tower, which she's got a nice base in Gotham still.
I'm okay for her just to move back to Gotham and the clock tower permanently.
Yeah, I'm okay with that too.
The belfry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the belfry. The belfry's a different thing.
Is it?
Yeah, the belfry's Tim's one for the team.
For the detective.
Is that what meant? Oh, the bird's watchtower.
Yeah, the clock tower. Yeah. I tried to call it a watchtower because that's the Justice League satellite.
That's the Justice League.
Yes. Yeah. We got to keep all these names in check.
Do you know when Smallville combined them? Because they had Chloe buy a clock tower.
Yep.
They had to buy a clock tower to be, Oracle essentially, but they called it Watchtower.
Yeah, they called her Watchtower.
They called her Watchtower as well.
Yeah.
They called her Watchtower?
But I'm afraid.
What
I
a
didn't remember
name.
that.
Yeah. Well, Pete, because she was watching from a tower, therefore she's Watchtower.
I get that name if you're talking to someone who's like 7 foot tall and it's a joke about their height, but to call like a 5'4" person Watchtower is bizarre to me.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
Yeah,
I keep going to watch The Fog on Amazon, and every time it's not the original Fog.
It's the Tom Welling one.
Tom Welling, and it makes me so mad. Because it doesn't have the year by it, so you're clicking through, you're like, oh, there's The Fog, and you're like, oh no, it's the one I don't want to watch. I want to watch the original.
I've never seen the remake, but I have to imagine the good synthy John Carpenter score is also not matched in any way.
I haven't seen the original, but I know it's better than the remake because I've seen the remake and it's ungood.
Because it has to be. To quote
the rules.
Giles from the episode The Wish from the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer, when they're in an alternate reality where Buffy never came to Sunnydale, Giles just had to take a leap of faith that the world that he's going back to is better than the one they're in, but he says it has to be because this world's terrible.
Yeah.
And it's a good emotional point. Because Cordelia made a wish, it was a whole thing.
Yeah, I'm not enabling you.
You don't have to, man. I'll go.
I keep saying I need to watch Smallville, but my wife's never seen Buffy, so we might have to.
Oh yeah, get on that first. Come on now.
I gotta find where it's streaming.
Go on that.
But
this is important.
Yeah.
Smallville might be a funnier experience, though.
Yeah, but I've seen most of those. I quit. I rage quit after Jimmy Olsen's Secret Agent. So I was like, I've had enough, and then I'd gone through a lot with Smallville. So, but. It's mostly enjoyable. I will say that. I'm afraid to go back to it, though. So how enjoyable was it when you're afraid?
Oh, God. We just done season 1 on the off-season for TV Multiverse, and every scene with Clark and Lana talking about their feelings was...
Well, it's because Lana's the worst.
Yeah.
She is...
It's bafflingly awful how it's written. Bafflingly.
Yeah. Even when she would show up on different shows, it would aggravate me. When Kristen Kruk... And that's an in-joke with me and my wife, where a TV character that shows up that annoys me is now Alana. So, yeah.
I can get behind that.
Batgirl was good, though. We got a bit off track.
Yeah, but... Matt, have you read it now?
No, I skimmed it, and I saw the parts you guys were talking about. I need to go back, and yeah.
Yeah. No.
Moving's fun, guys. You end up forgetting things.
Well, I mean, the book's been pretty solid this arc. I'm still digging it. I think her voice for Babs is good. Pelletier's art's very good. So
yeah,
it's a different style to what we've been having before. But I like it.
I like the costume as well. Having this costume's a nice change of pace, I think.
Yeah, I like most of it.
Yeah, I like the colours. The only thing I don't like is the way the symbol kind of straps over the shoulders and under.
Yeah,
that's
like
weird.
But the colours I really like. I like how it feels old school. I'm digging that.
I guess she has a backpack instead of utility belt. That's cool. So that's what that strap is, right? Like around the back. Yeah.
What are we giving it, Connor?
I'll give it an 8. Yeah.
An 8?
8.
An 8.
Yeah.
It's a Nate, as in a Nathan.
It's a Legends tomorrow, or Legends reference.
I'll give it a Nate out of Bebo.
I like this scale. That said,
hearing about Bebo,
I assume at that point it's a comedy scale, and Nate out of Bebo is pretty high.
It's pretty funny on that scale.
No, we don't have shirts, but that should be the first shirt. It's a Nate out of Bebo.
It's a Nate out of Bebo.
We have had so many. That should be the first shirt.
Hey, last week Matt was talking about someone called Jean Superman, and I don't know who. I was like, who's this woman? Jean Superman. I don't know.
Jean Superman. I think we decided she was an attorney.
Yes.
What the hell did I miss?
It popped up.
I was talking about at the end of
Sideways.
Spoilers, guys, if you didn't watch last week's, but the T-shirt and jean version pops up.
Okay.
And he just he just shouted
Superman.
Jean Superman, and I'm like, who's Jean Superman?
I should have said Jeans Superman when I left the ass off, and now we have a new lawyer character, Jean Superman, attorney at law.
All right, Batgirl was good. I'll get 8. I'll go with an 8 as well.
He's also going to read a Nate out of Bubo.
Boo-boo? No, Bebo.
Bebo, whatever.
Don't you mistake the name of our Lord and Savior, Matt.
Filthy casual hasn't watched it properly.
I haven't. And I keep meaning. It's funny too. Is my comic book owner? He moved back to New York to take care of his mom, but he came back and he's like, "You've seen Bebo, right?" So even he knew, like, this is something I need to see.
I mean,
Bebo is the greatest.
Not only that, the episode where Bebo's introduced is when he gets worshipped by Vikings as their god.
That's why he said I needed to watch it. And this was about I had just found out about it that week from you guys, so it was this weird coincidence that he brought up Bebo.
I love the idea that just everyone in Matt's life knows. Oh, hey, it's a Viking related thing. Hey, Matt, you'll like this.
Oh, and it's bear related. It's like 2 of your things. Like, Here you go.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the next book. Justice League Odyssey, issue 2.
Did Matt rate it?
We didn't read it.
No, because I didn't read it.
Cool.
I skimmed it.
God damn it. Justice League Odyssey, issue 2. Joshua Williamson and I was going to try to say it properly. Sejic.
Yeah.
Sejic's
I
on
don't even know
art.
the full name. Stjepan Sejic.
Yes. So, his final issue in the book, unfortunately, which is a shame because his art's absolutely gorgeous.
Oh,
But-
we're not getting a third issue from him.
Nah,
I think so.
just the 2.
Maybe he'll come back arcs down the line, but I think for now, this is it. He couldn't have gone out with more Starfire, so I'm quite happy.
Hell of an opening page.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Darkseid is no more.
Yeah, I love how that was intentionally written, knowing that Darkseid has become a bigger thing now because of Mr. Miracle. Like that was intentional.
Yeah.
That was Williamson playing with that. So, So Justice League Odyssey issue 2, Darkseid kind of trying to explain why he's called them all there about the whole your gods. And he's like, Jessica Cruz. No one wants a novice Green Lantern here. He says these 3 here are important. But of course they don't listen to him. They want to fight him.
No.
And I like because they were kind of holding their own. I was like, this is weird. Let's usually take the whole Justice League. And I'm glad that Cyborg pointed out, said, Darkseid, I would never have tried to fight you mono and mono before. You must have gotten weak.
Yeah.
Dig it in.
I will
You
say,
must
I
be
thought,
losing your touch.
I
That
thought
was
it was weird that Jess was going up against him alone, like and going, "Hey, I can handle you," and she's like, going, "Oh, I may have had problems, but now I'm better. I can handle you."
But,
I didn't feel like she was that much better. Like that was overconfident better.
But the fact that she knows now that he's not as strong as he was,
But
because the
she
last
didn't
time
then,
she
'cause
saw
that-
him, he was a baby. So, he can't be the same.
Yeah,
So
but
I like
it still
that.
felt a little overconfident for Jess to
But
me.
you know what though? If I'm gonna look at it meta, and because of Mr. Miracle, if Darkseid represents depression, and she's out of that now because she's learned, through being a Green Lantern, then Darkseid holds no power over her anymore, right?
Beautifully put,
Sure.
Matt.
Right. So
I
that's
thought
why
that
she's
was the
able to.
intention when it was being written, but sure.
Oh,
But listen to him, he's just being cynical.
I still like the book a lot.
Yeah, so they find this Starfire statue. They're on a planet that worships Starfire, and she's
because who doesn't?
all
Right?
confused. And this one survivor shows up. Jess is still trying to arrest him because she's like, "No, you all broke the damn law. You all go to prison.
Yeah.
I'll go to OA." And then this one alien's alive, and he tries to like speak, and Jess translates with a ring and blah blah blah. And basically,
I love how Jess though goes, "Don't touch him, Corey," because they have to remind us that Corey can assimilate language through touch.
yeah.
Um,
It's been a while since anyone
so-
mentioned that, so I mean, it's
Yeah.
worth pointing
well,
out.
see, I shortly, I'm trying to think. It was last spring I read the Connor Palmiotti stuff
Mm.
where they still use like she assimilates language through kissing.
Yeah.
And so she assimilated the dolphin language through kissing a dolphin, right? So she could talk to them. That's how she was able to train them.
Okay,
So
that was
so
someone being
fresh.
pervy. Someone was like, "I'm really into
Well-
dolphin sex. I'm going to draw
Well, no,
Corey."
because she kissed him on the muzzle. It was sweet.
It was.
Like-
That was such a good book.
It was. It was so fun. But I just love because it made it seem like Jess knew, like, no, don't be kissing strange aliens, Corey. you know.
Do you know?
And then
I
luckily we find out that she can assimilate through touch still.
Yeah.
So
I had a really cynical moment when Jess started translating.
yeah.
I was like, oh, that's her purpose in the book. She's like Cyborg. She's just a translator.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
just
for
you
a
being
second.
cynical. Just
I
doing
know.
it once does not mean that's her entire purpose.
No, I know. That's why I said it. Just crossed my mind.
If it,
Just-
yeah,
just
no,
look.
for me that's like no. The writers remembering that they can use all the characters' assets here or
No,
there.
I know. Like I said, I was being cynical.
Because if they
Well,
didn't do this,
and, like-
you'd be like, "Why isn't Jess just translating with a ring?" You'd make that
Well,
complaint.
that was my first thought was how come she's not translating when he comes up and the only word you understand is Corey's name.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, they're all like, "Oh, Starfire made us happy. We followed your rule and we were happy and worshipped you, blah blah." And then we see like Brainiac's big head, like
Yep, the
bottling
demon.
them. Yeah, it's the demon, and they're all trapped. But then when they get taken away and they're freed into the ghost sector, which they had a prophecy about, which I think is very
Yeah.
interesting. I feel there's some sort of time loopiness going on here.
Yeah.
I feel like that is probably the case.
Yeah.
Which is weird if Jess is involved in this because she already did a time loopy thing in her book.
Lanterns.
Although interestingly, her presence doesn't seem to have an effect on the actual time loopiness of it because she's not one of the gods.
No,
Nope.
she's just kind of there
So it's
along for the
interesting.
ride.
But yeah, so basically separating them and freeing them from the bottles actually ruined the planet. The atmosphere just crumbled and it became a wasteland. And
And then the angels came.
then the angels came, which it may just be me, but do they look a bit parody-me?
I thought
perhaps?
Thanagarian.
I thought, yeah, I got
Okay, I can
Thanagarian
see
too. I
that.
think the wings are too wide for parademons.
Yeah, that's fair. Because they're just little small silhouettes. You can't really make out any.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like parademons, the wings, they're too bird-like, where the parademons are more almost battish.
And
I think they were just in my head because Darkseid's in there,
Yeah.
sure. But
Yeah. No, it could be.
I
Yeah,
could-
I mean-
I did like John Paul saying, well, so where do we find the ones that worship me? Like, if anyone's going to break bad during this, it's going to be him.
yeah, and I
You know?
like
Yeah.
how who is it Cyborg that says
Cyborg is like, oh, is that supposed to be funny? It's like,
yeah, wanna be Batman.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wanna
I
be
like
Batman.
that Jess makes, figures to separate them
Yeah,
physically. That was cool.
that's good.
Um,
But then the alien dies and she absorbs his language. She translates the things, but whatever she takes from him also sort of infests her with this power. That she can't control. So her cliffhanger is her going overload. It's very similar to Wonder Woman getting the Hecate powers at the end
Yeah,
of the second
little bit.
issue of that.
It is, yeah.
But it looks gorgeous though. I cannot fault.
Oh, it does. In the glow from the statue, like holding the hearts-shaped stone thing behind her.
Mm-hmm.
All those panels, they look fantastic.
well, and I like too when she, gets the fire. The green kind of makes those horns like that alien species has up on
Yeah.
her. But yeah,
Such a good-looking book, and I can't remember who. Can you remember who the new artist is?
I want to say Briones, but I'm pulling that out.
That sounds like you might be right, because
Yeah.
I remember thinking it was someone who's okay. You know, that they're perfectly acceptable.
More house style though, rather than special.
It's just a step down from this, isn't it? No, almost anyone is, admittedly.
Yeah. I mean, I got my fill of Sejic Starfire now, which when this book got announced, I was so hyped for. So I'm okay for now. You know,
I'm going to miss his Starfire. I'm going to miss his dress.
Yep. Even his dark side in his weird hood that's not really a hood because it doesn't cover his full head at points. I'm like, that is an odd fashion choice for dark side.
Yeah. There's points where it just kind of goes up to the back of the crown, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I like the mythology here of the time loopy stuff where, okay, how did they end up being worshipped in the prophecy of the ghost sector and all this stuff? How does that happen? What's its relevance, and how do they sort of come back and kind of fix it? Or not? Or
do they?
Or do they? Yeah. Because obviously not going to be trapped in the past forever. I'm assuming they'll get back.
No, but this is the sort of story where it just coming to pass as they've seen it now could have like some good implications for the book and the team going forward, trying to deal with that.
Well, because don't forget they're still the Rogue Justice League team. Like they went off on their own.
Yeah, they stole the thing.
They're kind of teaming with Darkseid. So what I like about this book is it can go anywhere, and because of how it's set up, it's not going to feel like it's getting too wacky. Because it's wacky from the beginning.
And if
I'll say this:
we've got someone expendable in Azrael.
Yeah, it feels very like. So some new books will start and you can tell someone had an idea for a concept where, okay, we want this team to go together, but there'll not necessarily be a plot attached to the idea. The writer just kind of comes up with something because there has to be a plot. This feels like it's really seeded in. No. Williamson had an idea for what at least the first big story was going to be, and this is why they're together as a team.
There's still a question mark about the long term future of the book. The longevity of the team. And what their purpose is beyond, this first story.
Hey, if it's just one big 12-issue story and that's all it's going to be, then
I'm okay with that. Yeah,
could be cool.
Yeah, me too.
As long as Jess goes somewhere after that, so can't be not be doing with my Jess fix.
And Starfire, obviously.
And obviously. Yes. Well, so what are we rating it? That's a good point. What are we rating the book?
No, 8.5. I really enjoyed it.
I'm gonna go just an 8.
All right. I want to go with a 9. I was feeling this. I'm liking the mythology, and the art, of course, is elevating everything to this height. Every page is gorgeous. Every little detail and effect. The colors are just this wonderful shade. That fits Sejic's art so well. The art's just a bit flawless. All right, moving on to the Terrifics number 9, Jeff Lemire writing and Jose Lewis on the art. So this is picking up where we left last time with them being separated, looking for Tom Strong's family, and basically, how do you say the wife's name? I wasn't sure how to pronounce it.
Delua?
Delua, yeah, it's a weird name.
That's how I would say it.
But she shows up in the T-Sphere ship, and. Basically rescues everyone else. I actually really liked how this started with a really serious page. It was almost like the start of Justice League Odyssey, where it was this intense, 4 panels of talking about whatever
darkness.
Yeah, and then it pulls out and it's Duck Dread or whatever his name is.
Dr. Dread.
Yeah. So, no, not Dr. Dread. Duck. It was a duck one.
He said Dr.
Oh no, he said Dr. Dread. Okay, fair enough. I thought he said Dr. Dread. No. We're on the duck still, Matt.
Yeah.
Plastic Man's doing Sherlock Holmes, but the others are in the Aztec world, and again they go save them. But the main interesting stuff here is, I guess this is just regular Gotham. I assumed it was like a different Gotham.
Me too.
Because it felt so different when we saw it last time. I think it was just the art more than anything.
Yeah.
But here we are, and they go to they fight Swamp Thing a little bit, and then Swamp Thing's like, oh yes, there was this other dude here. Looked very suspicious. It's like, they don't look like him. Yes, that was the one. So they go off to Mr. Terrific's building in Gotham for research and investigation purposes.
Yep, the lab.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they obviously get attacked, and it's not really Dr. Dread. There's a bunch of robots. They come in, but then of course
because that's drones.
because of course. And then Plastic Man and the team show up, and they're the cavalry, and everyone fights, and it's glorious. But Mr. Terrific's figured out who Dr. Dread is. So our final page is the reveal that I forgot his name now. Java. Thank you. I was thinking in my head lava. It's not lava. It's not lava. Java.
It's the one we've been saying for about 6 issues.
Yeah, because he's the only one who's been around to be Dr. Dread. There's no one else who could have been.
If it wasn't Stag, then it had to be.
Which is why I thought the next that goes what was a bit weird. I'm like,
I don't know. I'll take that as self-aware. I'll take that as just
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I'll take that as that. I mean, they could have swerved us. It could have been Stag's daughter. That'd have been a hell of a swerve.
Yeah, Joe, I've flicked past the last page here, and this is not really anything to do with this book, but it's going here now. But the advert for that Electric Warriors, I just go ugh every time I see that page.
Do you know that is such a random book that doesn't? Do you know what it feels like? It feels like that was supposed to be part of the New Age line, but they forgot to announce it at the time, and then it just kind of like slipped out somewhere later.
Yeah.
It's such a weird book.
I just look at it and go, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. No, Terrifics is, unsurprisingly, Terrifics is this solid, pulpy fun. I've been saying this every single issue for about a year now, or close to a year, but that's essentially what it is. I get fun pulpiness. The art's never been bad. The art in here's solid, even though it's a different artist again.
I do think actually some points there's a little too much crammed into like pages and panels on this issue. I felt a little bit almost claustrophobic.
I actually don't think there's any more panels than necessarily some. I mean, I know some of the earlier issues had that whole 4 panels per page thing that made it feel really like wide and spread.
Yeah, I think it's just this extra. Like I'm looking at that double page spread with all the dread bots. Like for example, it feels really cluttered, and I get you could probably say, oh, that's the effect. It's supposed to feel like there's a lot, but it kind of just feels a bit messy, even though technically, if I break it down and look at each individual bit, it's not. I
think it's just a case of this artist has put a lot more detail into the backgrounds, whereas I feel like the previous artists have kept it quite simple to go with the pulpiness of the book.
Yeah, they've been a little more stylized.
Yeah, and that's fair. But I think why it never stuck out to me so much though is because I feel like the characters themselves have the same kind of simple, pulpy, kind of bold, almost cartoony style.
Do you know why I think it sticks out to me a little more in this issue? Because the opening in Funnyland, which is what the Duck World's called, is so clean and just cartoony, right?
Yeah.
Even our characters feel kind of stripped down a little. But then we go back to the real world, and it's almost like it's jumping to hyper detail to show the contrast. And it's just a little bit much.
Yeah, that's fair. I thought the art's really good though overall. Like
it's good, yeah.
At no point I was going, oh god, we've changed again. It still felt enough in the style of the book to feel like an issue of the Terrifics. So I never felt bad in that sense. So no, cool. Obviously Eaglesham's off the book because he's off to do at least one issue of Shazam. Although I think I saw this week the issue 2 is a different artist than Shazam, but it was an interesting artist. It wasn't like, oh god, they're taking the good artist off the book after one issue. It was. I almost wonder if Shazam's going to be like a rotating like all-star, an all-star team of artists kind of thing.
I hope that's baked into the story if that's the case.
It may be. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to look it up and see who the issue 2 artist is. If someone wants to look up the December solicits, you're more than welcome to. But it's Terrific's still good fun. Not really much bad to say about it. Obviously, it's still playing all the Fantastic Four tropes. But it's still making me smile. Whenever they bring up Dread, I'm like, Dr. Dread. So
it's because it's only once a month. If this was double shipped, that you'd
sure.
Sure.
Yeah. And I assume once they're done with this plot, probably 1 or 2 issues time, we'll be away from Dr. Dread and we'll be on to other things from there.
It's still Eaglesham on issue 2 of Shazam.
I
wonder if you're thinking variant cover is Samney.
I think that's what I read. I read Samney. That's who it was.
Yeah, that's just a variant. Although I'm sure it's going to be an amazing variant. Don't get me wrong.
But
when was the last time Samney did a DC thing?
It's been a while.
I don't know. He does a lot of just for himself, posts on Twitter, a lot of DC stuff.
Yeah, but
actual contracted work, not much.
I feel he did something in that Superman that was in New 52. That was an anthology.
Oh, maybe. Because I remember when we were talking about...
You're thinking about the digital first book.
Yeah.
Adventures of Superman, I think it was called.
Because I
There we
remember
go,
when
that
we were
one.
talking about who could do Shazam, and we had a long time of speculating when a Shazam book would come.
Samney.
I remember Samney being one of the artists we were kind of going, if we could steal them from Marvel, Samney would be great on a Shazam book.
He did one of those issues for Adventures of Superman pretty early on, I think.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they're waxing his palms a little bit, greasing his palms. Do we get?
Well, he also worked on Checkmate when he was at DC.
That was a long time ago, though, right?
That was a
Yeah,
while.
a long time ago.
I mean, I would not say no to a Samney GSA book, for example. Would be.
Throw him on Terrifics.
Would like, if I'm on Terrific, yeah, Terrific would be fine. All good things. What are we rating this book, though, Matt? What are you giving it?
I'm gonna go with an 8. It's real solid, a lot of fun. I like being right about it being Java. I don't like the twists and turns.
Oh, well done, you.
Yeah, well done, you, Matt. Yes, the most predictable plot turn in the history
No,
of
but
plot
you say
turns.
that, and Aaron had done that in Thor, and I had all the evidence in the world who the Lady Thor was gonna be, and I whiffed. So yeah.
You were too close to it, Matt. You were too close to it. Connor, what are you giving it?
It's a 7 from me. It's just solid fun.
Yeah, I go with an 8. I always dig this book. It's a really good middle book to put in as the halftime in my list, where it's like, there's a nice fun break in the middle before I get back to the series and whatever. All right, moving on then to Titans number 28. Dan Abnett writing, Clayton Henry on the art. This is a tie-in to the Drowned Earth. It's more prelude stuff where Tempest shows up to the Titans and is like, hey, all this stuff's happening. The water's turning people into lizard monsters. Let's go and take the fight to the ships that are in the sky.
Like pirates.
Like pirates, because Breeze Boy's really excited that they feel like
Exactly.
pirates. I will say, I actually enjoyed this book. I enjoyed that Donna was narrating. I feel like she feels like the leader right now. She feels like the mature character, which makes a lot of sense. I will criticize some of the art a little bit. I think the faces, Donna especially, I felt like some, and it's funny because she was just me and Cora watched Sabrina the first episode yesterday, and Melissa Gomez is in that show, and the weird skinny expressions that the artist was giving Donna Troy in this one felt kind of like Melissa Gomez to me.
Do you know what?
Wow.
I just opened it up to have a look because I intended to read this because it was a tie-in, but obviously I'm like 3 issues behind, and
Yeah.
I would have caught up, but I was catching up on the more important books. And I thought, I'll open it up and see. Very first panel, I see exactly what you're on about.
Look at her
It's
face.
that gaunt look.
Yeah, and she has that a few times in the book, and it was kind of distracting because it felt like I mean, Donna can be a bit moody, right? It's kind of part of Donna's character, but it doesn't feel like that type of attitude to me that what the artist has given her there with that. But
Yeah. It's that gaunt frown that Gomez does so well.
yeah, but the art isn't bad overall though. It's just some of the faces have these kind of weirder, sort of skinnier expressions that feel a bit weird to me. But no, I like Donna being kind of on board. We find out that Donna's not told the rest of the team yet about Roy. Only she knows about it so far. And obviously, I actually really laughed out loud because at one point Garth's on board and he's telling everyone, we need to do this, we need to do this. Where's Dick? Where's Nightwing? We need to go and fight. And then Donna takes him to a side, and we could be focusing on like Beast Boy and someone, maybe Miss Martian, and talking. And Miss Martian's like, he's a really angry dude. He's a bit of an asshole. And we just at one point, one of the pals in the background, we just see Garth go, "Shot!" And it really made me laugh because it was almost like us finding out Dick was getting shot. It was just like out of nowhere, and it just really made me laugh.
Yeah.
He's like, he got shot. What? What's happening? So Miss Martian gets called away by Batman, and we're going to see what happened to her in Drowned Earth issue 1. It mentions that at the end because she comes back by the end. But so they actually make the stupid choice to go up and try and fight on the ship, and they're doing quite well. They're fighting on the ship until one of the actual aqua gods from that we got introduced to shows up and basically just starts tearing through them because they're more powerful than Superman, as they point out. And as they point out as well, our biggest gun, which is Miss Martian, isn't here. We're doing this on our own and getting our asses kicked. But there was a lot of fun banter about being pirates and whatnot. And like I say, I like Donna being the one who was narrating and trying to be the leader, and Garth even like giving her advice, said, "Hey, like be the backbone of the team. Like you need to kind of step up here and be that person for the group." I like that stuff. It's very much a tie-in though. It's definitely a tie-in. Like when this is in a trade, it should be in the Drowned Earth
the
trade
Drowned Earth. Yeah.
with that stuff.
Yeah, and they end up marooned somewhere in the multiverse because of the jump.
Yeah, they do the boom
end.
tubing thing, and they end up. It's like there's not enough time to calibrate it, and he's like, well, anywhere's better than here because we're about to die. So she just kind of jumps them somewhere.
Yeah.
That'll do.
So we get a maroon plot, which can be fun. That'll be like a fun little sci-fi plot, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it takes the focus off of Dick not being there to lead his team that they set up to be Dick's team.
Yeah, I do like, as much as I hate what's happened to Dick, I do kind of like how the book's kind of tackling it, and like, okay, now he's gone, we have to deal with that, and Donna has to deal with that, and I know Kyle's eventually coming in, we'll see how that plays.
It just feels like such a last-minute decision, right? It's like, hey, we're giving you this book, Dick's building the team, but we're actually going to get rid of him after like 4 issues.
Yeah, and we're gonna do some really cool stuff with him and Miss Martian. Now they don't understand each other, but then they come to this agreement.
Yeah.
And then now we're gonna take him away. So, it's frustrating.
Yeah. But I think it's handling it well enough with Donna and Miss Martian and them kind of try to step up and be the leaders. And
it's not the fault of this book.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
I'm not blaming.
No, it's not Abnett. It's definitely editorial. But a positive to come out of that is at least as a leader, Dick knows he knows how to handle himself. So while he was giving Miss Martian attitude, he was measured. Whereas Donna is just pissed off at the world right now.
Oh, she's flying off the handle, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's stories to tell there.
Donna, though,
yeah, there's arcs to have here with them sort of learning to be a team.
So yeah, there's potential there,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So I think this book's actually surviving through this weird editorial stuff from the other books fairly well for what it's doing.
Yeah.
Oh, obviously you had the one issue dealing with the actual shot and the last time, and then you've got this one that's a tie-in. So it's not until next issue where we really get back to just Titan stories. And even then, they're only in this new Maroon situation because of the tie-in, but that could be a fun little... like if Abnett's smart, I think he would use that as like, okay, they're kind of on their own and just try to survive. It should almost be a bottle issue where they're just like they're having to figure things out and talk to each other. That'd be my expectation. Sure.
Like kind of like Serenity out of gas.
Kind of, yeah, like
without an origin,
I'm just thinking like I'm sure there'll probably be a monster that shows up by the end so they can fight something, but it doesn't need that. I think.
Well, that almost makes you think that's how Kyle gets involved.
Oh, right? Maybe. Yeah, maybe they're marooned somewhere and Kyle comes and bails them out and it becomes a thing. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Like, some art quabbles with the faces.
Yeah, mostly with Beast Boy. The whole point, I like Beastly Beast Boy.
Yeah.
And when he's hanging out with the team, he's in regular Garth mode. Or Gar mode, not Garth. But yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's annoying having a Gar and a Garth both there at the same time. It's just asking for trouble. Alright, Matt, what are you giving it?
It's a 7.5. It's decent. I'm not enjoying Drowned Earth that much, but they made the most of it here.
Sure.
So,
is this the first bit Drowned Earth, or was there one?
No, there was Justice League 10 was.
And Aquaman.
I haven't gotten to that yet.
Yeah, that sets it up properly.
I haven't done last week's books yet.
Both of them dropped last week. You had Justice League, and then Aquaman, and this concept I'm not enjoying. Like this.
Justice League first, yeah.
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 Cool.
Justice League,
Aquaman, Titans, and then
the only book I've read from last week was Justice League Dark.
Yeah. So I mean, you don't necessarily have to read this one, but I would definitely read Justice League then Aquaman before you read. Next week's. Yeah, next week's.
I'm going to. I need to read pretty much everything from last week because they're all doubles.
Yeah.
Is there any more Green Lanterns? Or was that the last one?
Last week's was the last one.
Yeah. How was it? Just quickly.
Yeah. Oh, it was alright. It was less monologue and more action, so the action was more fun. And Cyborg Superman kills a kid right at the start of the issue. It's great.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I've got stuff on killing kids in Brimstone.
Jess has a nice kind of send off at the end to go to Odyssey. It was alright. It was one of the better issues of the arc.
Okay, cool. I'll make sure I get to that soon.
I'll agree with 7.5 for Titans. Clunky art faces kind of maybe pulling it down a little bit for me. Has that tie-in feel, but at least this felt like it was kind of like Aquaman as well, where Aquaman also equally felt like, okay, how is this affecting this part of the world? And given that Atlantis and Aquaman and Mira are going to be related to the water and what's going on in the water, it felt like a really natural thing to say, okay, how are they handling this? What's going on here? So it makes sense to me.
No, I mean, so far out of these issues, this one's probably the most tight as a story, Because it feels tied into Titans more so than Aquaman did to Aquaman. Like, that was just straight up Drowned Earth stuff.
Yeah.
This at least continued some of the character stuff with Donna and Miss Martian.
But even that had some good stuff, though, because I liked in the Aquaman issue how it was like how Batman, how he appreciates Mira and how he sees Mira as a as a member of the Justice League. You know, that's
I wonder if you guys will be into Drowned Earth a bit more when it starts proper instead of this.
Yeah, maybe.
lead up.
Well, I think I like it more than Matt. I think. I mean, Matt's a bit more done it than I am. I enjoyed the Justice League issue well enough, and I like the flooding the cities stuff and all that. I can live with that. But anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to the Silencer number 10. Dan Abnett again writing, with Patrick Zircher on art. We have Kaijus in a Superman theme park, and we have Silencer in the body of what's the other dude's name again? I always forget it. Quietus, yes. Who's like basically a mech robot dude.
This is so much fun. Can we not overlook the very first page?
Oh, the homage to the Crisis Superman holding Supergirl, but it's the cosplayers who work at the theme park.
The Action Land versions. So they're in it's basically the red and blue are reversed on the costumes.
They're swapped. Yeah, it's just the knockoff Superman and Supergirl, and he's holding her, and it's gold, and then they get eaten by a kaiju. and then Silencer's kid's like, Superman just got eaten. That's not supposed to happen unless he bursts out of him in a minute. But it's just a regular dude, so of course he doesn't burst out.
Yeah. Like, you can see the blood as this kaiju is chomping on them. It's fantastic.
It's pretty good. And obviously, Quietus in Silencer's body, he's agreed to try and help with the theme park. Although he's like, what can I do? Your body's not got all the powers and gadgets that Maine does. What can I do with this kaiju?
Yeah, it's like, your body's shit. Give me back mine.
Yeah. And the Lady Wishbone who did all this, like, she has to reverse everything eventually, so they switch back right before the kaiju eats Quietus's body. So they switch back and Silence goes into hers. But Quietus is still alive. He's just a head now, though. His body's destroyed.
He's like, don't worry about it. I'll get a new body.
As long as the head's intact, he's fine. So now she's got this robot head. And they kind of bond a little bit because he realizes that she was trying to save her family, and we find out that he had a kid that died, a son. And he kind of respects that she has a family. And her family thinks she's dead now because the hotel that she said she was at got destroyed in the attack, and there's no survivors.
Yeah.
So that'll be an interesting conversation. Also, at one point when she's there in Quietus's body, she refers to them as the kid as our son, and obviously the husband's like, wait a minute, our son? What are we talking about? Stranger.
She says a few weird things. It's like, she says his name, and he's like, how do you know my name? She's like, we met earlier.
Yeah. The art's fantastic in this, though, and especially the art of in Quietus's body when he's walking, or she's walking towards the kaiju with the two big guns in front. That full page.
Yeah, that is a hell of a panel.
That page is phenomenal, and then the page after that where she's jumping about and just blasting guns at the kaiju. It looks fantastic.
I had a blast with this issue. This is maybe my favorite issue of this book yet.
It might be. It's getting more ridiculous, but in a really good way.
It's going full just stupid action hero book.
Yeah, and Talia's back up. We see her getting out of the Lazarus pit.
Yeah.
At one point, so Talia's back.
Without goals.
Yeah, I know. She's back.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'm having a blast with this.
Yeah, it's good. It's great. Like this is went from pretty much strength to strength, and it's funny because I remember them going off the Action Land and thinking, oh, maybe this will be where it dips a little bit because it's doing this weird different thing. And then they switch bodies.
And then we got a kaiju.
And we're getting all this chaos. This might be the best issue of the book so far.
Yeah.
It might actually be the best issue of the book. So I can't fault it. And yeah, I'm liking the kind of the uneasy alliance with Quietus and maybe the sort of mutual respect. Because he even says, hey, if we take down Talia and I can run Leviathan, then
I'll let you be with your family. Seriously.
Yeah, I don't care. Yeah, it's fine. I don't mind you being away with your family. It's fine. You can retire in peace.
Yeah.
So, but Talia's back at full power though, so I don't think they know that, and I don't think they're prepared for that fight.
No, it's gonna be fun.
It will be good. No, it's good. At one point, she silences the kaiju as well, because the kaiju shrinks back down to like a normal size, and she quietens it at one point.
What's it called? It's got like a really normal name, doesn't it?
I can't remember.
Michael.
Like
Michael.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, you're not a million miles away.
Actually, Joe, I just this is to go back to Terrifics for a second. At one point, Tom Strong says something to Terrific, and he just says Michael, and it reminded me of Better Call Saul this season with the German guy who kept calling Michael. It's just I read it in that voice.
Yeah, okay, I'm with you.
It really stuck out to me. Catch on Better Call Saul, Matt. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I will. Again, every time I try to do something, something comes up. So.
Damn it! I need to move house.
Time's a bitch, isn't it?
It is. I don't like it.
So that sounds is very, very good. Still digging it a lot. What are you giving it, Connor?
I'll give it an 8. Yeah.
8.5 for me.
It was close to the 0.5.
This is a blast. I'm going. Yeah, that was great. Just to think we were so down in this before it started because Romita Jr.'s doing the art. It's probably gonna be shit the way I listen to this.
And Romita's his art wasn't that bad. It was only 3 issues and it wasn't awful. It was it was all right.
Also, it's worth mentioning just here at the end of this is that Silencer debuted an Arrow this week on the show.
Ooh, snap!
Yeah, she did. Yeah. A little bit bastardized because she's got just a box that
does the power
things.
Instead of it being like a power. She's got like a box that does it. But to the credit, when she activates it, they actually the fight scene that happens, they took all the sound away, so it's like a really unique fight scene because there's no sound.
Yeah,
That's
and
cool.
you've got 2 black canaries screaming at her.
So
that is just doing
does the choreography step it up? Because I know when you like watch an action movie and there's fight choreography,
that's good enough.
Without the sound, it's exposed.
They didn't in this one because it was more about her just blocking the screams.
Yeah, because that's what was fun about it, is that it counteracts the Black Canary power, right? Because obviously it doesn't work. And it took 2 Black Canaries both screaming full force at her to finally break the quiet bubble. And it was like a fun little scene. Like, I mean, Arrow's still shit, but it was a fun little scene.
Yeah. She's one of their longbow hunters.
Yeah. So she's got a completely different backstory, but whatever.
Yeah.
But it was worth mentioning.
Cool, though.
Because she's a new character. She's only been around. This is issue 10?
10? Yeah, so less than a year.
Yeah, less than a year, and she's on a TV show. So,
that's cool.
All right, cool. Which does take us on to the final book of the week. That was the final new book of the week. But Connor, because he might have to miss next week for work, which means you'll have a catch-up punishment issue if he does miss next week. But in the off chance that he isn't here next week, he wanted to get one of them done before the end of the month.
Yeah,
so,
I didn't want to, because originally I was going to just do 2 next week, because it's week 5.
Week 5,
but I thought, just in case, I'll spread them.
Which is where you'll get my discussion of Hawk and Dove, if you're waiting for it. I know some of you probably are, you bastards. Anyway, so Connor's going to be talking about Curse of Brimstone #6, Justin Jordan and Dennis Cowan on the art. Take it away.
Yeah, it's a bunch of killer kids, isn't it? If
Killer
you recall.
kids. Okay, so the kids are killing people.
Yeah. Do you not remember from the end of the last issue? Because I compared it to Channel Zero.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I remember. Now you've said that.
Yeah, that's the only reason I thought you'd remember.
Yeah.
When I brought up. The whole thing is it's one of the kids, the leader kid, has made a deal with the salesman to keep everyone young, keep them all young and evil together. We don't want to grow up, and they spend the whole issue going on about how that's not really a kid, it's an adult who he's had the salesman make him young again because he's trying to recapture his youth. And then by the end, they're like, "Oh, we'll just kill that one, and all the rest of the kids will be freed." And then it's like, "Oh, it's just a kid." They break off the mask, and then and it's actually a kid. And it's like, okay, we were gonna. And Brimstone's all mopey because he was like, "Oh, I was gonna kill him, and I was fine killing an adult, but what if I'd killed a kid? That'd be unforgivable." It's really just pointless, this issue. So much of it is supposed to be the creepy kids that they set up at the end of last issue, but it kind of devolved pretty quickly into just an action sequence of, okay, let's fight the kids.
I'm googling a movie I want to reference.
Okay.
I'll just try to find it.
Yeah. And as I go, I'll keep going for a minute while you do.
Yeah.
They realized that older dude who they found in the village, who told them that it was all the kids. I don't really remember this, I'll be honest, but apparently he told them that he was one of the parents and he was the last one left, but he's not. He was from out of town. He was just trying to see what would happen. The he has a little book like the salesman does. So the implication is maybe he works with him or for him, or he's something to do with that. They were like, he'll pop up again. So I'll get more on that when it's relevant. Art, Cowan's obviously another different artist. I like Cowan a lot usually. And I think I said this, I can't remember who the artist was last time, but the art's fine. And it's very much not what I usually expect from them. It's very much in the keeping of what Tan did in the first few issues. So it's this, even for Cowan, it's a more scratchy style than usual. I'm wondering if it's maybe the same inker that's doing them, that's making it that consistent. I haven't checked. But I mean, it's serviceable. It's not horrifically bad art, but it's not that good either.
Okay, I think the movie I was looking for is called Beware Children at Play, where I think there's an evil teenager who turns up, like, brainwashes them all into being evil killers, so they're killing off people. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because you were talking about them, like, having to kill the kids, or at least one of the kids, because of what they're doing. That movie ends with a ridiculous scene of the parents all murdering all their children violently.
Sounds amazing.
I've never seen it in whole. I've seen clips from it, but you made me think of it.
That sounds like a Screams in waiting.
It does. That'll be done someday. Speaking of Screams with evil children, we did a movie called The Pit for October just this past week. Well worth looking into The Pit. It's one of those so bad it's amazing, like join the ranks of movies everywhere kind of thing. It's
now,
special.
Quick question: if I want to watch Troll 2, do I have to see Troll 1?
No, not even
Okay.
slightly.
Okay.
You're good.
Because he said so bad it's amazing, and Troll 2 popped up on...
Do you know there's a character in that called
something.
Harry Potter?
Yes, we've talked about this.
And it was made way before, of course, Harry Potter ever existed, so
Right.
it's just a coincidence. They should have sued J.K. Rowling. They should have been like,
Now
how
they're
dare you
gonna
take our
eat
name?
me.
Troll 2 features a scene where, because the vegetables on the dinner table are going to turn the parents into, like, or take over the parents or do something bad, the child, while time is frozen, stands up on the table and pisses all over the dinner so they won't eat it. That's a scene from Troll 2.
How is this a movie? Oh my god. I have stuff to do and I can't watch that now.
And then when they can't eat their dinner, apparently the parents have no way of getting more food because, you know, times are tough or something. I don't know. Even though they've just bought a new house. The dad comes out of the bedroom and says to the kid, well, thanks to you, none of us are going to be able to eat. We're all going to have to fasten our belts one notch tighter so we don't feel hunger pains. Or something to that effect.
That's not how that works, trust me.
Oh, man. How did we get to bad movies? This is Carter's fault for mentioning killer
You're
kids.
talking about
Hey.
The Pit, and then they made me think it's so bad it's awesome, and yeah.
Blame our patrons for making me read this shite.
Nah, the Pit goes along with Troll 2 and The Room and Birdemic and all those movies that you want to watch because they're so bad. That's
Where would you slot in Sleepaway Camp?
I wouldn't put that in that. That's just more of a cheesy
Okay.
80s slasher movie with a very memorable, weird ending. But
Yeah. I think over the next 2 days I'm gonna make my wife watch that, and she has no idea what's gonna hit her.
if you do watch
So-
Sleepaway Camp, you should watch 2 and 3 because 2 and 3 are like really fun, almost like proto-Scream movies, but they're very meta. They're very different from the first
Gotcha.
one. Like in the second one, for example, someone mentions that it's Saturday the 14th. Well,
Right.
there's a lot of jokes like that in 2 and 3 are really good fun movies.
Well, if those are on Amazon, I know Sleepaway Camp is on.
One's
Amazon,
remembered
yeah.
just for the ending, which
Yes, which I know the ending because it's very
Yes.
famous. But if you don't, watch Sleepaway Camp and then let us know. So
it's batshit insane. Carter was talking about Brimstone, though. I'm sure he wants to get back to that. He's
No,
desperate.
I'm done. It was kind of boring. I'll
No,
enjoy
cool.
this discussion more.
nah, fam.
Like I said, most of this is actually just an action sequence with them fighting the kids.
Okay.
Murdering children. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Nice. That's the best part
like
of any movie where someone murders a kid. It's usually the best part.
Yeah. I'm not against you there, but they don't really kill the kid. They just burn off the creepy mask, and then it's like, oh, you're actually just a kid. They don't go through with it.
Pete's so disappointed right now.
That is disappointing. That's very disappointing. Yeah. What can I say? Children are treated with this thing in movies where it's like a really taboo thing to kill a kid. No. Cats and dogs are taboo. Kids are fair game.
It's the same in games. If you look at like Skyrim or Fallout, it's like you can kill anyone you want. You can't kill the kids. So you can kill like an entire town and just have the kids running around, and that's it. And it's like, well, I want to kill the kids. I want to be evil.
This is how Michael Myers happens, Connor.
It's fine. They just let me nuke the town instead. Kids didn't survive that.
I got some questions about Fallout after we're done. For you guys.
All right. Well, that was the last bit then, which does take us to the part of the show where we pick our favourite stuff from the week, pick our favourite panel/moment, our favourite art, favourite cover, and our top 5 books of the week. So, Matt, what's your favourite panel/moment?
It's got to be Lois and Clark reunite on the streets of Chicago. It looks fantastic.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with Silencer here. Her walking towards the kaiju with the 2 giant guns is the most ridiculously epic, badass thing I have seen in a comic in a while. So, I'm going with that.
It's pretty good. I'm actually just going to go with the first page of Justice League Odyssey. That dark, the recap of the past 3 years of Darkseid's story.
Yeah.
In
4 panels and 4 words, and that's it. I like it.
Well, he did miss a beat though, because the part where he was like growing up again, there was no like Jason peeking out the side saying hello.
Yeah, this was the amended version.
Yes, he draw him in at the side, just peeking and going, "Oh, hello, my name is Jason. Hello."
What is that voice that Jason?
I have no idea. That's how I read his voice.
Hi, Darkseid.
That's how I read his voice, like he's doing like a. What voice am I even doing? Oh, hello, my name is Jason. I'm doing kind of.
Do you know what
Tommy
it is?
Wiseau.
It's kind of Tommy Wiseau, yeah.
It's you know, in Always Sunny. Have you seen the episode where Mac wants to pretend to be a Swedish plumber?
No, I don't think I have. But...
It's just a discussion. They're going up to a house, and he's like,
okay.
I'm going to be a Swedish plumber.
That's his Swedish accent.
He does.
Okay.
And they're like, what the hell is that?
I'll just go full Tommy Wiseau. oh, hi, Darkseid.
Yeah.
My name is Jason.
Yeah.
How was your sex life?
I did not.
I love how there's been a running theme for the last little bit of bad movies, like really, bad movies that they're good to watch. So that's been a theme for the last like 20 minutes, and we keep coming back to it.
Why not?
All right.
I got the test results back. I definitely have cancer. I'm sure it'll be fine. Yeah, I'm sure you're right. That's a scene in that movie.
I know it is.
Oh. We've all seen it.
And then the Disaster Artist, it's better because the according to that movie, the actress asked, shouldn't she be upset? And Tommy's like, no, it's fine.
I mean,
so, yeah.
Disaster Artist is kind of a weird movie because I really enjoyed watching it, but it's kind of not
it's
really
good because of the point of the original, right?
Yeah, I like it for some of the tidbits that I was getting from it, but it's not actually a good movie on its own.
No.
My favourite joke though, and okay, so this is a spoiler for a joke towards the end of the Disaster Artist. I say joke, it's based on a real thing that was said, but that's the art of Tommy Wiseau. It comes across as a joke that someone wrote in a movie. So one of the ridiculous scenes in the room towards the end is because spoiler for the room in case you don't know this, but Tommy Wiseau's character Johnny commits suicide at the end of the room. It's a tragedy.
You might be the first person ever on the internet to offer a spoiler warning for the room.
For the room, I know, right? But throughout the course of the movie, he's this perfect specimen who is cheated on by his girlfriend, and he eventually commits suicide. Now, before he does it, but he's really upset, and he's upset that he's found out that she was cheating on him. He starts like humping the dress right before he kills himself. In the original take, according to the Disaster Artist, which came from the book, so I assume it's true.
Yeah.
He shoots himself in the mouth, and then he starts humping the dress and making noises after he shot himself in the mouth. And Seth Rogen's like AD character, whoever he is, says, "Hey, wouldn't it make more sense to hump the dress before you shoot yourself?" And Tommy Wiseau goes, "I disagree." I don't think I laughed more at that movie than that moment.
The one that got me is when they're talking to Greg's mom. She goes, "How old are you?" And he goes, "I'm the same age as Greg." And just the look on the mom's face is just like, He's blatantly lying to me, and I'm allowing my son to go off to LA with him.
Yeah, she says something like, "Oh yeah, I just turned 14," and he's like, "Happy birthday."
Yeah. God, I want to watch Disaster Artist again just to laugh.
Oh dear. Oh my god.
Oh, Wiseau.
Do you know what's so great about it? Is
you.
so much of that dumb Tommy Wiseau stuff comes because he's too salty to admit that he was wrong about something, so he just doubles down. And that's where that comes from. It's him doubling this and I disagree. My way is better.
Disagree. That's any time on the show now I don't agree with Pete, I'm just gonna go disagree.
I disagree.
Okay. Do we do best art now?
Best cover first. Best covers first.
Oh, best cover. Okay.
Yes. What you go for? Oh, well, I'm going to do mine because it's obvious. Batgirl variant. No competition. There's a lot of good ones, but that one's.
Yeah.
Connor?
Shall I do a couple of just other ones that I liked because it's so obviously the Batgirl one?
Yeah.
I really like the detective variant. I think it's Mark Brooks. I think that's gorgeous as well.
Mm-hmm.
And also just the standard Justice League Odyssey cover.
That's a good one.
Because it's Sejic.
The Dodson's Just cover, the variant for that one's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a classic Dodson cover though, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm partial to Dodson's. But I don't care about how the legs look on this one. My favorite cover of the week was the Manipul action cover. The way the colors look.
I'm going to be honest, I have to agree with the leg criticism that I saw on the interwebs.
Well, once it was pointed out to me, I couldn't unsee it, and it pissed me off. Because I saw that cover and I went, oh my god, that is fantastic.
Yeah, Lois's legs just feel weird. It feels like the bottom half of the image suddenly becomes like this like French style, like this French cartoon style, whereas the top half's like a proper Manipul comic cover.
Yeah, so, but I just, the coloring, the intent of it, I can't help it.
And Connor's like, this is weird. We're talking about Manipul and I've got no horse in the race. This is weird.
Yeah, I've not seen the cover.
Yeah.
I'll
go check it out.
Yeah, I could do, but too many clicks.
All right, best art of the week.
Too close to Bendis.
Best art of the week. Matt, what's your best art of the week?
Oh, this one's tough.
It is.
This was a great week for art.
It was.
But I'd be remiss not to give it to Sejic on his last on this.
Yeah, I'll even look because he's doing all his original stuff. When's the next time we're even going to get a DC book with Sejic art? So you know what, Sejic's taking it.
And again, double down on Starfire. I'm happy. So, like,
I was so close to giving it to Sejic, but I'm actually going to give it to Giandomenico because, man, that issue is working. That's so good. I have missed seeing it for so long.
Yeah. I wonder if he ends up being a regular on Detective or something else. Like if they've got him because Flash has got other rotating artists now. He's kind of moved away from that.
I do miss him on Flash though.
So do I. He's given away to Collins and Porter.
It's the way he draws the speed of it is different to everyone else.
Yeah. All right, top 5 books of the week, Matt. What is your top 5 books of the week, Matt?
Yeah, so number 1 is Action Comics. Number 2 is Justice League Odyssey. I gotta pull up the other ones because I forgot what else I read. Number 3 is Terrifics. 4 is Tech. 5 is The Flash.
Cool.
Yeah.
Connor.
I'm going to give number 1 to Silencer.
Ooh.
Wow.
It's kind of weird, but
Bold.
I had a blast. Number 2 will be Batgirl. 3 Justice League Odyssey. 4 Tech. 5 Flash. Sure.
What a story. That was another room. Just for anyone who's not familiar with the room, these little jokes I'm making probably just sound really random and weird. Just go with it.
Also, for anyone who's not familiar with the room,
go watch the room.
get a drink, sit down. It's on YouTube. Get
some friends who've also not seen the room and just bask in it.
If you can find the version with Spanish subtitles, it makes it that much better.
Do you know actually Tommy Wiseau himself uploaded the room to YouTube, and no one's sure if he did it intentionally, because, well, no, he obviously intended to upload it, but we're not sure if it was intentional that it's public. We're thinking that he might have just meant to put it up as unlisted so that he could send it as a screener purpose to people for reasons. But you can get the room on YouTube right now.
That
officially
beautiful man
from
whose
Tommy Wiseau.
age is undeterminate.
Yeah.
Ugh.
He's claimed he's been at 21 for the last 30 years, so we'll see. Oh, that bit where he's auditioning and they're saying, "Oh, can you do it without the accent?" He's like, "What accent?"
Also, when Odenkirk says that he has a hostile something, I forget the word to it, sinister. He calls him, he has a sinister quality like a vampire. Oh.
Where are you from? I'm from New Orleans. You're from where? New Orleans. Yeah. City. Oh, New Orleans. Oh, okay.
See, this is your fault, Connor, for dropping Brimstone on us.
I know.
I told you. Blame the patrons.
That's Tyler's fault. Tyler's to blame for that.
There you go. Tyler, this mess is
He got us
all
to
on
Children Shouldn't Place the Dead things to the pit, which led to the room, and now the room jokes are just flying thick. So you did your top 5 car, right? My top 5 is Justice League Odyssey at number 1, Silencer at number 2, and then it's tough. There's a lot of even solid books this week. Yeah, so Odyssey and Silencer, and then I think I'll go with Batgirl. Action, and I think in 5th place it'll probably squeeze to Detective, which is impressive because Detective was kind of in a different place for a while.
It wasn't a top 5 book for most of this arc.
But that's actually kind of elevated it a bit, so
yeah.
Credit where credit is due. Although I feel bad leaving off Terrifics. I do feel bad doing that.
You should.
I do feel bad. Let it be known I feel bad. All right. That is our favourites of the week. That is the show. So I'll tell you what's coming next week, as I typically do. Let me get my list up here. So coming next week as a week 5, but because of some annuals and because of some delays, we actually have kind of a meaty week in terms of stuff to talk about. We got Heroes in Crisis issue 2. We have Justice League Dark and Wonder Woman: The Witching Hour issue 1, which is the finale. Not to be confused with the first issue that was almost the same name.
Yep.
We also
have
have
Wonder Woman and Justice League Dark. This is Justice League Dark and Wonder Woman.
Yes. We have Justice League and Aquaman Drowned Earth issue 1, which is the proper start of that. It's not even like a crossover. It's basically just Justice League with a couple of specials, because the Aquaman issue is a tie-in, not an essential part.
Yeah.
So it's a Justice League story that just happens to have a couple of extra issues to get through it quicker. And we have Batman Secret Files number 1, which is essentially an annual. Well, they could just call it that, really. Yeah. Terrifics annual number 1 and Sideways annual number 1. Also out next week, although, I mean, some of us might read some of these and talk about them. But
Sideways isn't there.
Is Sideways not there?
Nope.
No.
Oh, that's weird. It's weird. What did they move the annual to then?
I don't know.
Week 1.
Maybe they did. Fair enough. But also out next week is Deathstroke Yogi Bear special, Green Lantern
I'm reading that.
Huckleberry Hound special, Nightwing Megilla Gorilla special, and Superman Top Cat special, should anyone be interested in such crossovers.
I just want to give a little shout out to Hex Wives, which is the newest of the new Vertigo line that's been kind of rolling out slowly. Hex Wives is one of the new ones starting next week. It's from Ben Blacker and Mirka Andolfo, who did a bunch of stuff over the past couple of years that we've seen.
Yeah,
did some Wonder Woman. It looks great. It's easily the one I'm most excited about of those books.
All red variant. Whose variant is this?
There's a Joel Jones.
Oh no, it's Fission.
Cover is standard.
Yeah, no, the variant from the thumbnail looked like it was all red, but it is Jenny Fission.
Yeah, so you got a Frisian cover and a Joel Jones cover. I mean,
yeah.
I'll tell you what, Boomer tried to win me over. They've got a new Firefly comic starting and a new Buffy comic starting.
Next week?
Not next week. No. Buffy's in January, but Firefly's, I think, next month. But
oh my God, there's a Witches special out from Image.
Yeah, it's like 70 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's $8.
It's basically starting saying, I'm sorry there's not been an issue of Witches in the last 2 years. Here's like 70 pages in one go.
Also,
do you remember how hyped that book was?
Yeah.
It was good.
I liked it a lot.
That was 5 issues.
No, I know, but just the palpability of the hype of Snyder and Jock. That was Jock, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then it disappeared for a long ass time. So I'm glad he's getting back to it. He's saying that this is kind of setting up the next like wave of it.
The next.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. There's also, speaking of Snyder, there's the first American Vampire Omni comes out next week.
Ooh.
Yeah, buddy.
Ooh. I have all of it digitally,
already,
so I'm good. But yeah,
it's American Vampire 1-27, Survival of the Fittest 1-5, and Lord of Nightmares 1-5.
that's everything.
So
that's
that's
everything
the
up till
first-
the break.
Yeah, yeah.
That's 6. That's 6 trades right there.
Yeah, so that basically... It's actually not really 6 trades, Matt, because the crossovers were just in the regular volumes. So you actually got all that in volumes 1 to 4.
Really? Because I have 6. The 6 that I have packed away were those exact ones.
No, because the crossovers weren't separate. Like
Miniseries, 5-issue minis, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were just in the
Yeah.
regular trades. I'm sure they were.
But they put them in the
Trades
trades,
were
but there were
huge.
6. But yeah, but there's 6 of them. So
I'm sure there's not 6.
There is. I'm looking on Amazon now.
From before the break.
I'm just checking.
Yeah.
What was in issue? It was 6. 6 was.
Because volume 5, I'm sure, is the anthology and the
No,
two sort of big one shots.
That's 6.
That's
American
6.
Vampire
There you go.
Anthology and Long Road to Hell is.
So there's
6.
5 then, but it's not 6.
so that's 5.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
5, yeah.
I was off by 1. Either way, that's a lot. If you haven't read it, go read it. Survival of the Fittest is one of my favorite comic stories of all time.
It's really good. You
99.
almost wish they released it a few weeks earlier so people could actually read it on the build up to Halloween as
Yeah.
opposed to just getting it on
Yeah,
Halloween
Day
itself.
of.
My problem is, it also will be coming out roughly the same day because obviously if I look at this on Amazon, it's a couple of weeks later
Mm-hmm.
or a week later, whatever it is. Pretty much the same day as that Batman animated series Blu-ray set. Can I really afford both? Should I do both?
Well, I'm gonna go sell a kidney, so I'll be back.
Yes. Oh well.
It's a good plan.
Everyone betray me. I'm done with this world. So that'll all take us to the end of the show. This has been episode 127 of Comments from the Multiverse. By all means, let us know what you thought of the books this week in the comments below. Like and subscribe, all that stuff. If you want to support the show and the channel and everything we do here, but especially the show, head over to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV and you can get some bonuses, you get some things early, but mostly you get a warm fuzzy feeling for helping us out a little bit and keeping the show coming. So you can go do that. Is that else? Twitter at DC Comics Podcast. You can get us individually at Twitter. Connor, where to get you?
Connor around 94.
He's still
I'm on the
paused.
ball.
No, he's still paused. There was a
There's not
hesitation.
a pause there.
There was a hesitation. Matt, where can they find you?
At Metal Steel 57.
That was a longer pause than mine was. Screw you.
No, see, I believe Matt when he says that was just a natural pause. You can find me on
Guys,
Twitter at Wibble89.
Deathstroke Yogi Bear.
Oh,
Yes.
all right.
Yeah.
That has been the show. So yeah, thank you very much once again for watching and listening. Keep reading DC Comics and all that jazz. But always remember to never get lost in the Speech Force.
I'm excited for next week.